worries, mate. We got the Women's World Cup covered.
What a turn, what a goal!
The FIFA Women's World Cup.
Live
On Talksport 2.
With the Women's World Cup draw opening up around them and the return of Keira Walsh, it feels like luck is with the Lionesses down under. But with an unbeaten Nigeria side ahead of them, they won't be taking qualification to the last 16 for granted.
To Lauren James, hits it on the volley. This one will count. It's another stunner of a finish from Lauren James.
I said, well, that was fun. I just said that was a lot of fun, and you could tell that with a smile on her face that she enjoyed it.
It out to the penalty area. Now Russo finds the corner. Instinctive finish. Alessia Russo off the mark of the World Cup.
It will be a really big test in this tournament. You literally can't take anything for granted. So, yeah, excited for it.
The Nigerians in the Brisbane Stadium are up off their feet. They're having a party. It looks like their side is going to progress to the knockouts.
Now that we've made it out of the group, we don't want our work to be done. The match against England is certainly going to be another challenge, but I think the players are up to it.
Knockout football in the morning. Absolutely love it. I'm Faye Carruthers. Thanks for being with us on Talksport 2 for England's last 16 match against Nigeria. The Lionesses return to the Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, where their World Cup campaign started against Haiti 16 days ago. So much has happened since then, hasn't it? Including the exit of world champions USA as we get to the business end of the tournament. There is a new unpredictability to England as well. So how has Serena Wiegmann decided to line up? Some big team news to bring you. Your match commentator Joe Shannon has it.
And of course, the most significant news of the day so far for the Lionesses is the return of the starting lineup for Keira Walsh, who was stretchered off with a knee injury on match day 2. Nobody knew at that stage whether her World Cup might be over. She returns to the 11 today. So in the event, England have only missed out on Walsh for one match. They won that by 6-1 against China in the final group game to qualify as group winners for the round of 16. It does feel like, as you say, that things are starting to fall into place for Serena Wiegmann's team. Can they seize the opportunity and move closer to World Cup glory for the first time since 1966? It's Mary Earps in goal. Walsh for Zellem, by the way, is the only change. Katie Zellem, who played 90 minutes on match day 3, but starts on the bench. Earps the goalkeeper. Carter, Bright and Greenwood are the 3 centre-halves, so England have stuck with the back 3 that served them so well against the Chinese in Adelaide. Bronze and Daly are the wing-backs, with Walsh and Stanway that familiar pairing in midfield. Lauren James has got 3 goals in 3 games at the World Cup and was so outstanding on match day 3. In particular, will play in the hole with Lauren Hemp and Alessia Russo, both on the score sheet in that 6-1 win over China, starting once again up front. And some significant team news, Faye, as well for Nigeria. Everybody expected the Barcelona striker Asisat Oshoala to be the most potent goal-scoring threat that England might face today. As it stands, she starts on the bench with Ifeoma Onumonu coming in. Nigeria will not be an easy opponent for England to face. They are tough defensively to break down. They've got pace in the attack. Nonetheless, the Lionesses start as favourites to move into the quarterfinals.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Joe. Former Tottenham captain Jenna Scalacci is alongside Joe. How excited are you for this one, Jenna?
Oh, buzzing for this one, Faye. Can't wait to get going.
I know. I've literally just watched the Lionesses walk into the Suncorp Stadium fully focused, and the Nigerians walking in singing and dancing as a collective. They're not going to be slouches, are they? They're already unbeaten in this tournament so far, and even without Oshoala starting, they're a real threat.
They are, and they definitely can't be underestimated. I think that if there's anything that we've learned over the last couple of days in this tournament, no team can be underestimated. They've got talent in abundance. As Joe mentioned, defensively very hard to break down, and then on the counter they are frightening. They've got that pace, and they've also got some key players. Obviously their main threat, Oshoala, is on the bench. She'll be coming on. I imagine their weapon if times do get tough for Nigeria. But surprised she's not starting, but there's still some key players in that Nigeria team to keep an eye on.
Well, England's weapon has always been Keira Walsh until people worked out how to deal with England with her in that defensive midfield position. Massive news that she's back, and who would have thought that after we saw her stretch it off against Denmark?
Yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable comeback, isn't it? I think obviously when she went down in that game it was like the whole with England went into mourning, because she is such a key player for this Lioness team. But I think what it's done is it's shown that actually it's given the team confidence that Kira Walsh, yes, she's a key player, but they do have quality on the bench that we've seen in Zelen, who come in and was immaculate in her first start, I thought. But it's given us at formation the adaptability. Obviously the formation was changed, we were forced into that because of the injury of Walsh, but yeah, it's massive to have her back. I was wondering, I thought maybe you'd keep her on the bench, and if we are under a lot of pressure, bring her on to just strengthen up in front of the defensive line. But she must be fit, and huge to have her back.
Yeah, they managed to keep it very quiet up until yesterday's training session, didn't they? Where she featured in the full training session. But this is really important. We talked about formation-wise, and as soon as it came out, it's literally just a straight swap from the formation that we saw against China, with Zelen coming out and Walsh coming in, and it worked so brilliantly against China. Is it going to work against Nigeria?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing we've learned about Wiegman is when she gets it right, she doesn't like to change that formation. And I think obviously the opening 2 matches, Haiti and Denmark, we were something wasn't clicking. I think once they changed the formation, the 3 at the back, I think especially against a team like Nigeria, who do, their strength is that counter-attack. I think having those 3 defenders will hopefully nullify that, and we'll look a little bit more comfortable. I think what we saw against China was we enjoyed a lot of possession. I think our 3 defenders had the most, possession of the ball, the most touches, and it allows Bright to step in, knowing that she's got the cover of Carter and Greenwood behind her, which is, she's starting the attacks from defence. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised that she'd start with this, and it was just a straight swap.
Yeah, Serena Wiegman's also guarded against complacency, having seen the USA exit at the hands of Sweden at the weekend. It's so important, isn't it? I mean, Nigeria are ranked 40 in the world, but that means nothing in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it means absolutely nothing. I have no doubt the players would have been watching yesterday's antics, and, just some real top teams out of the competition now. If anything, I think England will be, the ties opening up really nicely for them. But like you say, you can't underestimate any opponent in this World Cup now.
No, absolutely. Well, the USA, the current holders, did exit the tournament in the most dramatic of circumstances, a penalty shootout against Sweden yesterday. Talksport reporter Alex Biddle has been roaming the streets of Brisbane to ask whether the Lionesses are indeed the new favourites for World Cup glory.
Well, Faye, I'm currently walking down Caxton Street, which is a strip of bars and restaurants that links part of the city centre to the grounds around Brisbane Stadium. And I kid you not, in front of me, it's a sea of England fans. And after the USA got dumped out of the World Cup last night, I wanted to ask them, are the Lionesses now favourites?
Yeah, probably. I'm delighted the USA are out. I think it makes England's path a bit easier.
No chance that Nigeria could do anything today. There's been a couple of big upsets, hasn't there?
Yeah, well, Nigeria, obviously, we were here for the game. Nigeria beat Australia, and that was some atmosphere, so bring it on. Yeah, Nigeria are obviously a great side, top team in Africa, so yeah, England are in for it, I think, today, but I think they'll come out champions.
England have got a lot of strengths in terms. I really like Russo up front. So I feel like England have got too much for him, but you never know. It's football at the end of the day, so we'll see how it goes.
And what a game it was last night. USA dumped out. They're not going to win it 3 times in a row. Are England now favourites, do you think, now the US are out?
I believe so.
I think so. I think the days of the USA and their domination are kind of coming to an end.
I mean, wow, who would have thought it? USA out at the last 16 stage, Germany out at the group stage, and Brazil as well, and the Olympic champions Canada. I mean, this is one of the most open Women's World Cups we've ever seen, Jenna Scalacci. It was such a massive moment yesterday. The USA players all in tears, and such dramatic circumstances in terms of Arsenal's Lena Hurtig scoring what was eventually awarded as the winning penalty, but we needed goal line technology to check it.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy, wasn't it? I've never seen anything like that, and the suspense, I think the penalties as well. There was some really experienced players for the USA team stepping up and not converting in the biggest moments, and then I think for it to go down to the finest of finest details, it just shows, at this level, it is the small details that matter. And yeah, I don't think anyone would have predicted that. I thought the whole penalty shootout was crazy. even when you've got USA keeper stepping up for the fifth penalty, when you've got that experienced standing there. Crazy, but
she was incandescent with rage as well, Alyssa Nair, because she was still talking and remonstrating with the referee well after the final whistle, and Sweden over in the corner celebrating. They were so shocked by this, even though Sweden are Olympic silver medalists, ranked third in the world. they're an incredible team, but they just didn't do their job in the group stages, the USA, which meant that they finished second and therefore had to face one of the other favourites.
Yeah, I mean, I think USA will feel disappointed that they didn't get the game done in the 90 minutes. I thought they were by far the better team. They created a lot of opportunities, had some great chances, but Sweden's keeper's egg was in unbelievable form. She was like a brick wall. She was having one of them days where they could have thrown anything at her and she would have been in the right place. Some fantastic saves, and they just couldn't get the job done. And as the game went on and USA weren't converting the chances, you started to think, is this actually Sweden's day? Because they weren't at their best at all.
No.
And you'd kind of back the Swedish goalkeeper in a penalty situation, given the game that she'd had.
Yeah, and is it England's day today? That is the big question, because with the USA out, what's it done to the odds for the tournament as a whole? We've heard from the England fans, we've heard from Jenna Scalacci. Let's find out the odds with 888 Sport. Will Gavin, the whole tournament has opened up with the USA going out of it. Let's do the match odds for England-Nigeria first of all before we go to the tournament as a whole.
Yeah, hasn't it just opened up, Faye? In terms of the game today, Nigeria impressive in the group stages, but England with the patriotic pound behind them are big favourites. 1-5 odds on to win inside the 90 today. The draw is 5-1. Nigeria women 14-1. Unsurprisingly, being the star of the tournament so far with her 3 goals and 3 assists. Lauren James being very popular in the first goal scorer market. You can get her there at 9-2 right now.
Brilliant stuff. And in terms of the tournament as a whole, you would think England right up there. Are they actual outright favourites?
They are now actual outright favourites. I always question whether or not, again, it's the kind of patriotic pound that backs England into these positions. But with the way the tournament's opened up, I don't think it should surprise anyone that they are now top of that proverbial tree. 5-2 right now with 888 Sport to win the tournament. Tell you where there is some good money, though. Playing each way if anyone reaches the final. Sweden, 5th favourites at 8-1 right now, with Spain at 3-1, Japan at 5-1 and France at 7-1, all in front of them. After that famous win yesterday, I thought they'd shorten in quite a big way, but as you say, England very much the favourites at 5-2 with 888.
Wow, Japan at 5-1. I mean, I've seen them, they look so impressive. Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Will.
Cheers, Faye.
Those are the latest odds with 888 Sport. Gamble responsibly. 18+. BeGambleAware.org. Just over 15 minutes until kick-off in Brisbane as England look to progress to the last 16. You're listening to the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 on Talksport 2 in association with Xero small business accounting software Dream Bigger. You're listening to the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 on Talksport 2 in association with Xero small business accounting software Dream Bigger. This is Women's World Cup live on Talksport. I'm Faye Carruthers. Thanks for being with us for knockout football in the morning. I hope you've grabbed yourself a cuppa and are ready to settle in for England's last 16 tie against Nigeria. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk is our England reporter out in Australia and is soaking up the atmosphere at the Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. How's it looking, Courtney?
Yeah, it's out in full force at the moment. The cameras going around the stadium. Everyone's got their phones out with their lights on and singing along. So yeah, it's looking good at the moment, Faye.
Excellent. I saw all the England fans gathered outside and it looked like some atmosphere. They're really going to bring it, aren't they? But Keira Walsh is the big news for England. We only found out yesterday that she was back in full training with the rest of the squad, and here she is in the starting 11. How's she looking in the warm-ups?
Yeah, she's looking good. I think, for me, she's got to be fit. In terms of, there's a massive risk if she's not fully fit, obviously because of what Nigeria will offer, and she needs to be combative today. She needs to make sure that she can break up play, because I think that's where the Nigeria team will cause a lot of problems in the transition if they're let to do so.
Yeah, excited about the fact that they're sticking with a back three. Harsh on Katie Zellem maybe, but Walsh is just so incredible. You can't leave her out when she's fully fit. Brilliant stuff, Courtney. Courtney's going to be bringing us insight throughout the game and getting all the reaction from the tunnel afterwards as well. And leading up to this match, she spoke to England manager Sarina Wiegman about the threat Nigeria will pose her side.
They're a physical team. They have some speed and they're very transitional. So we must be really aware of that. And they of course, in duels they can be really tough too. So those are the things that we are very aware of.
There's been a lot of upsets in this tournament. I know you want to go and win every game, but there's a little bit more room for manoeuvre in the group stages now. Obviously, it's win or go home. So just how ready are you for that, and the fact that you don't want an upset in this game?
No, of course we want to win this game. Of course, everyone who goes to the knockout stage wants to win every game, and that's what we want to do too. What we do now is prepare for Nigeria. We trained well, we are ready, and tomorrow we're going to play as good as we can, and we do our best to win the game.
And there is the possibility of penalties. Is that something that's been practiced?
Yeah, but not shortly. We know when we go into a tournament, we have our training plan. So way earlier we had some practices from penalties, and now everyone should be ready, if necessary, should be ready to take one.
And of course they had practice in the finalissima at Wembley against Brazil, winning them ultimately. And we saw our first penalty shootout yesterday with the USA losing ultimately to Sweden. Former Tottenham captain Jenna Scalacci, part of our commentary team for England-Nigeria. How will England deal with the threats that Sarina Wiegman mentioned there, Jenna?
Yeah, I think obviously the back three we touched on earlier, I think that's going to be key in Greenwood, Bright and Carter. I think they all just look a lot more comfortable in this formation. I think we've learnt from the Haiti game where we were caught time and time again on that counter press and looked very, very vulnerable. But I think this formation is perfect for this Nigerian opposition, whose key is that attack and the intent and the pace they have up top. But I think obviously having Walsh back in to protect that defensive line as well, just break up the play, is huge. So I think, Walsh coming back, playing the three at the back, is key to stopping this Nigerian team and their strengths. Yeah, and
it would feel like an opportunity missed if they can't get through this last 16 match, because I've just got the draw in front of me. I've talked consistently in the build-up to this game about how much it's opened up, but it's actually frightening when you properly look at it. On the other side of the draw, already into the quarterfinals, Spain, Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, like really big, tough teams to face. In England's side of the draw, they're just one of two of the world's top 10 teams. I mean, it's now or never.
I mean, yeah, it's perfect, isn't it? I mean, I don't want to jinx it, because I feel like everything we predict lately has just been thrown out the window. But I think, yeah, England are in a very, very strong position now. I think we have enough quality to overcome this Nigerian team. I think the result against China and, finding our groove in that match, getting that confidence up that was lacking in the first two games, I think is massive and huge. So I think they'll come into this full of confidence, and they'll know they've been watching the games over the last couple of weeks, that they have to remain focused. They can't afford to take their eye off the ball for 1 second, because this Nigerian team, as we've mentioned, have a number of threats up top. Obviously Kanu starting now as the number 9 up top, and Payne just behind her, who has that vision to spray passes. Very tricky player. So yeah, I think they can't afford to get on the back foot against this Nigerian team.
No, they certainly can't. You can hear the didgeridoo in the background. It's the welcome ceremony that has been occurring at all the matches before the players walk out of the tunnel. It's a wonderful celebration of Australian culture and Aboriginal culture in particular, and England fans absolutely decked out across the Suncorp Stadium with the flags painted on their faces as the players await the walkout from the tunnel. England players in their blue tracksuits and Nigeria players in their grey tracksuits, ready to take each other on in this last 16 match. Fun was how Sarina Wiegman described England's 6-1 win over China, but now it is down to business. And if the Lionesses can get past Nigeria, the World Cup quarterfinals await. Teams are just on their way out in Brisbane. Enjoy this one in the company of Jenna Scalacci and Joe Shannon.
Thank you, Faye, and good morning, everyone. It is 5:30 in the afternoon in Brisbane, and the knockout stages begin here for England. The World Cup draw is opening up nicely for them. Hot favourites like the USA and Germany have fallen by the wayside, so can the Lionesses seize the opportunity and move closer to World Cup glory for the first time since that fabled year of 1966? Nigeria will be their toughest opponents of the tournament so far. They are tough to beat, they have pace in the attack, but England are back to full strength. They have Keira Walsh back in the starting 11, so can they keep up the momentum and move into the last 16? England with Earps in goal, Carter, Bright and Greenwood the defenders, Bronze and Daly the wing-backs, Walsh and Stanway in midfield, and Lauren James in the 10 in support of Rousseau and Hemp up front. Walsh's return is the only change in place of Katie Zellem from the side that beat China by 6-1 to confirm their qualification for the round of 16 as Group D winners with 3 wins from 3 matches. Well, they are out onto the field of play at the Suncorp Stadium. Lots of Lionesses fans in the crowd, plenty of Nigeria supporters as well, as Nigeria go for their first ever knockout match win at a major global tournament. But there's no question that England start the night as big favourites, and they are now up there with those sides most heavily ranked to win the tournament. Both sides stand astride the halfway line. The national anthems starting with England. The Lionesses players, arms around the shoulders, big cheers for the national anthem. And now, the national anthem of the side ranked 40th in the world, Nigeria. Well, Nigeria's key attacking player, Asisat Oshoala of Barcelona, who only needs 1 goal to become their leading scorer at the Women's World Cup, is left on the bench today. They have Nadozi, who saved a penalty in this tournament, in goal. Alozi, Demahine, Ahale and Plumptre of Leicester City at the back. Uchebi and Ayinde in midfield, with Ajibade, Payne and Onumonu behind Kanu up front. The England players shake hands with their Nigerian counterparts and the match officials. The former Tottenham captain Jenna Scalacci is with us today for commentary on Talksport 2. Well, Jenna, it does feel like it is starting to open up now at the Women's World Cup for England, but as Serena Wiegman has said, there'll be no complacency.
No, absolutely. It is opening up for them, but they've got to focus on the task ahead against a difficult, resolute Nigerian team who have made their own bit of history getting here. They've overcome a really tough group, provided some shock results in their group stages, so this is going to be no easy feat for this England team.
Just how significant, it's the obvious question, but how important is the return of Keira Walsh to the starting 11 today?
Yeah, huge. I mean, I don't think any of us expected her to be starting this game, given, you know, those scenes against Denmark, but yeah, it's massive. I think if you've got you want your best player on the pitch, and she's gone through all the procedures. I don't think they'd be silly and be risking a player like Keira Walsh. She's fit, she's back in, and you know, if anything, she'll come out of this fresher. She's missed the last game, got the fresh legs, and she's key, especially for just that extra support, that extra cushion in front of the defensive line, and I think having her just allows Stanway to play a little bit higher up the pitch, and that's one of her strengths as well.
Well, Nigeria have had these 2 clean sheets in 3 group games in the tournament. Lauren James, though, is a player who's looked throughout this World Cup that she can unlock any defence in the world.
Oh, she's just been ridiculous, isn't she? I feel privileged to be seeing her shine at this stage. She's really found her form. I think when you've got a player like Lauren James, you've just got to let her be free, and I think that's what Serena's done so well with her, is just letting her play. She's grown with each game. You can see the confidence. She's been a real key player, and I think now all the teams are looking at how can they stop Lauren James, because she is that secret weapon for us. Not so secret anymore, but she just keeps growing.
Yeah, the world knows just how good she is, but that won't stop her from producing on the field for England, you feel. The floodlights are on in Brisbane, dark skies overhead in the late afternoon, as I say, early evening. About 17 degrees, even though we are in the middle of the Australian winter. We're in the northeast of the country tonight. And you do feel that the stars are aligning at the Women's World Cup for England. The draw opening up for the Lionesses. They are a win away from the quarter-finals, where they would face either Colombia or Jamaica. It has been a World Cup of shocks so far. The world champions, the USA, and Germany among those crashing out. There is no complacency from Serena Wiegmann and the Lionesses. Nigeria stand in the way in the round of 16 here, live on Talksport 2. And we'll have commentary of every England game here in their World Cup adventure down under. And we are off and underway. England in the knockout stages as we welcome listeners from Talksport. England against Nigeria in the round of 16 at the Women's World Cup, at a time where the draw feels like it's opening up for England. They have Kira Walsh, their midfield linchpin, back in the side. We're 20 seconds into the game in Brisbane. England white shirts, dark blue shorts and white socks, playing from left to right against an enterprising and impressive Nigeria team who've done well to qualify for the knockout stages. Nigeria all in green, playing from right to left, and England have won an early free kick here, midway inside the Nigeria half of the field. England have kept their central defensive 3 that they used in the 6-1 win over China. They qualified England for the knockout stages with 3 wins from 3 and top Group D. Alex Greenwood is standing over this very early free kick, drives the ball high up towards Millie Bright in the penalty area. Nigeria half deal with it. They'll scramble the ball clear to the far side of the field. Walsh will let it trickle out of play. It's an England throw, goalless in the early stages. England have started promisingly, and the former Tottenham captain, Jenna Scalacci, is alongside.
Yeah, just had an early sign there of the Nigerian physical presence, an early free kick on Stanway. It was Ushavi who's come in powerfully behind her and given England their first set piece, so just a little taster of what's to come for these Lionesses.
And we will have commentary of every England game at the Women's World Cup on the Talksport network, and the full 90 minutes this morning live on Talksport 2. England in Brisbane with a place in the quarter-finals of the Women's World Cup at stake. 90 seconds gone. England 0, Nigeria 0. And Lauren James looking to make headway down the far side. The England left, she was so outstanding against China. Not just the 2 goals, but the 3 assists, Jenna. And her performances just seem to be going from strength to strength. She only scores spectacular goals, it feels like.
She does. She only scores the worldies, doesn't she? But yeah, I mean, she looks like she's grown and just maturing with every game. I think how she is on the ball, it's so effortless. I don't think teams know how to stop her right now. You know, I've played against her many times, and you think you've got her, you think you're going to win the challenge, and I don't know how she does it, but she managed to escape any sort of pressure just so effortlessly. And we've seen the type of goals she scores. She can score from range, just effortless. And, you know, the assist as well. Huge to this Lioness team. Probably one of the first names on the sheet now going forward.
Well, she could well have had a hat-trick against China, had that goal at the end of the first half not been disallowed. And I think everybody was a little bit gutted by that. It was the right decision on the day, but James didn't let it affect her. And England put 6 past China. Here they are 0-0 with Nigeria in the round of 16. It's Alessia Russo who got her World Cup scoring campaign off the mark in that final group game in Group D. Cross from the right-hand side, cut out at the near post and smuggled clear by Ashley Plumcher up towards the halfway line. There's Millie Bright with a good challenge on Onumonu to knock it out of play. And actually, I think the last touch off the Nigeria player. And it's an England throw which Lucy Bronze will take on the near side, right on the halfway line at this 3-tiered stadium, which holds about 52,500, much bigger than the Hindmarsh Stadium that England played in Adelaide in their final game of the group stages. That's a clearance off the right boot of Demaheen with the orange boots on. Nigeria, who have an American in the dugout. The head coach is Randy Waldrum, who was very complimentary about England and Serena Wigman in the build-up to the game, but China do fancy their chances, Jenna.
Yeah, I think he spoke in the build-up, saying why can't they go on and beat this Lioness team? You know, they've overcome Australia, they got the draw against Canada, gold Olympic medalists. Why can't they go on and get a result here? So that's the mentality they're coming into this game with.
Well, it has been, as we said, a World Cup of shocks and surprises, and that's made it all the more exciting and potentially all the more promising for England. They've got a corner, they've started really well, England. Almost all of the play has been in the Nigeria half away to our right. 4 minutes gone, England 0, Nigeria 0. Alex Greenwood with the corner, left-footed in swinging, deep to the far post. Goalkeeper flapped it, did well actually. You have to say Nnadozie, the young goalkeeper who's really impressed in the tournament, a penalty save against Canada in the group stages, and the Nigerian did well there.
Yeah, done really well. It's a great ball into the back post. Bronze was up in the air, ready to hammer the ball home. She's got a strong hand to it and parried it out for a throw-in. For a small keeper, she's been phenomenal during this tournament. And I think just across the tournament, one thing that has been noticeable is the standard of goalkeeping.
Yeah.
Been fantastic, and Zoe, she deserves a lot of credit, because you know that penalty save against Sinclair, had that gone in, they wouldn't have got the draw. They might not have made it out the group stages, but it's the keeper that, you know, she's not the goal scorer. She doesn't get the credit she deserves, but she's been phenomenal for this Nigerian team. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. We have seen some tremendous goalkeeping performances yesterday as well in the Sweden-USA game, as Achira Musovic was so impressive. And then all the penalty drama as the US crashed out in extraordinary circumstances. England, of course, I think given the track record for the Lionesses to some extent, and as we've seen in the men's game over the years from the penalty spot, I think everybody's hoping that the Lionesses can get the job done in regulation time. Here is Rachel Daly, far side the left in the left wing back position, hammers the ball down that far side channel. Lauren Hemp will hair after it, down by the corner flag, keeps it in on the dead ball line. That was brilliant close control by Hemp. She evades the defender, Ahale. That's gone out of play. I think that looked like an England throw. In fact, I think it may have gone the way of the Lionesses in the end. It has, but that's just a sign, isn't it, Jenna, of the explosive pace and that ability on the close control of Lauren Hemp that we've seen.
Yeah, it was, and it was great vision from Daly. She saw Hemp on the shoulder of Ahale, long ball over the top, and Hemp's pace just outdone the defender there, and great control to keep it in. But that's always on when you've got a player like Hemp leading the line. She's got the ability to change the gears, and 1v1 she's going to beat any defender.
England 0, Nigeria 0. Lots of England flags in the crowd, the cross of St George, and we've seen all sorts of teams represented, Jenna, over the course of the tournament. I think there was a Bristol City flag over there, I think I saw, and the England fans will travel far and wide, as we know.
Yeah, rightly so. I think, you know, the Lionesses have captured the hearts of nations now, and they're used to this kind of support.
And this kind of pressure in a situation like this, where the quarterfinals potentially of the World Cup beckon. They would face Colombia or Jamaica in the quarterfinal in Sydney on Saturday, if they are to beat Nigeria, and that is the key thing. Ball long downfield by Daly up the middle towards Russo, smuggled away by Demaheen, just 21 years of age. Nigeria have possession on the near side of the field with number 15 Ajibade with the dyed blue hair, a self-styled player with the blue hair, pokes it up the outside left channel on the near side towards Onumonu, who has got plenty of pace, certainly, to potentially trouble Jess Carter, but the Chelsea player did well to smuggle it away.
Yeah, she done really well there. She was aware of Onumonu on her right-hand shoulder, just got herself in between the ball and the player.
Ashley Plumtree will take the throw, level the edge of the penalty area. Born in Leicester, a Leicester City fan and a Leicester City player. Now an opportunity for Tony Payne. Good feet on the near side of the field to take on Lucy Bronze. Cross whipped in by Ajibade, headed away by Millie Bright at the heart of the England back three. England, who are yet to concede from open play at the Women's World Cup so far. And here's Russo breaking into the centre circle, and then the pass forward albeit under pressure from Demaheen, was straight to her opponent, Ahale.
Yeah, the counter-attack was on, started there by Kira Walsh, doing fantastically well, won the ball back. First ball, can she play forward? I think maybe Russo just hesitated on that pass. She looked like Daly was in, she went to play it, hesitated, and then completely fluffed the final ball in the end. But yeah, the counter-attack, that all come from the fantastic work that Kira Walsh does and goes unnoticed, just breaking up the play and playing forward quickly.
That's the voice of the former Spurs captain, Jenna Scalacci. And Jenna, I will ask you about Katie Zelem, because she did so well against China, played 90 minutes, her World Cup debut, and then you're out to the side. I suppose, to some extent, though, I'm sure she'll be able to understand Kira Walsh coming back in.
Yeah, I mean, take nothing away from her performance. I think, given the hype around Kira Walsh and that injury, it was really difficult for Zelem to come in and then to give a performance like she did. So composed, calm.
As Ajibade floats in a deep cross for Nigeria, and I'm not sure whether Mary Earps had lost her bearings there, because the goalkeeper flapped at the ball, punched it behind one-handed under no pressure whatsoever. It's a needless Nigeria corner. I'm just thinking there, Jenna, does she think it's going to spiral into the top corner maybe?
I think so. She could have done with a shout maybe from Daly, but she's taking no risks. It was definitely going out. But yeah, I think it was a ball in. It looked like it was curling in, so she must have just lost her bearings, and you know, you take no risks.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of what makes her such a good goalkeeper. It was going wide, but Earps didn't know that. Lots of England fans in the stadium today. They were well represented here in Brisbane. Remember, we were here for match day 1 against Haiti. Corner to Nigeria. Tony Payne will take it. It'll be a right-footed outswinger. Plenty of Nigeria players forward. It's hung up high, that one, to the edge of the 6-yard box, smuggled away by England. James scoops it long towards the halfway line, and Nigeria have it back on the near side of the field with Ayinde spreading the play towards the left-hand channel. Pluncher, the number 2, will get to it in front of her opposite number, Lucy Bronze. It's deep inside England territory, this attack. Early evening in northeastern Australia, and Nigeria trying to work a crossing angle. Uchebe is there. She's sent Stanway sprawling though, and England have a free kick in the right back position. 0-0 on Talksport 2 with 10.5 minutes gone of the round of 16 time.
Yeah, Nigeria getting a lot of joy down this left-hand side. Combinations, moving the ball really quickly. England are having to defend well, just soak up this pressure.
We have lots of live football across the Talksport network to come, including the return of the Premier League this weekend. 4 exclusive national radio commentaries. On Friday, Burnley against Manchester City to start the season, Arsenal against Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth West Ham on Saturday, and Manchester United Wolves in the Monday Night Football. All of those on the Talksport network. Lauren Hemp will play the ball back to the middle of the Nigeria half for England, and now Bronze to the halfway line of Millie Bright. Square pass to Alex Greenwood with the orange boots on. And Greenwood, who is so dependable for England and often goes under the radar. If you look at the tournament so far, she's technically played in 3 different positions already: left back, centre back and left centre back as part of a 3, and Jenna as a defender. It isn't always easy to do, I'm sure, but Alex Greenwood does it so well and does it so impressively for England.
Yeah, she does. She's one of the experienced heads here in this team. I think I like her in the back. Having a naturally left-footed defender always helps that balance, but for me, I think she's so confident on the ball. She's that defender that is happy to drive in, to carry the ball, to start the attacks as well. So yeah, I think she's was unlucky during the Euros not to get the minute she possibly could have had, but I think she's grown as well, and she adds that balance in the back line.
The ball played forward over the top by Ajibade for Nigeria, away to the right hand side. Uchebe will bring it down, opportunity to cross, potentially left footed here, twisting and turning and driving in the delivery right footed. It deflects off Greenwood, and Nigeria get themselves a corner, having a good spell 12.5 minutes into the game, and well, you can see already there's certainly no fear in this Nigeria side.
Yeah, it was a beautiful diagonal pass sprayed across the field to Kanu, and it's just her pace there. She holds the ball up, waits for her teammates to join. Greenwood ultimately gets the block in, but some alarm bells there. It's the ball over the top, the pace up top from Nigeria that England must be aware of.
You have to say, Nigeria have started relatively well. Corner whipped in by Payne, headed goalwards and blocked by her own player. It was a thumping header from Alozie, the right back, and it hits a Nigeria player in the 6-yard box on its way to goal. It may have come off Onumonu, but it was a tremendous header from Alozie that would have caused problems for Mary Earps, and unfortunately for England, unfortunately for Nigeria, in fact it's an England head in there. Thumping header from Alozie towards goal, and is that Alessia Russo pretty much in front of the goal line getting that away?
Yeah, it was poor defending from the Lionesses there. It was a great ball in. Aluzo made a run from the top of the penalty area, unmarked, got up and got a power behind the header.
There might be more trouble for England. Nodimonu is in behind, left wing position, deep cross to the far post. That's going to evade Kanu this time and floats out of play for a throw to England in the left wing back position. England 0, Nigeria 0, but the first sign of trouble for the Lionesses, who are still yet to concede a goal from open play in the tournament. There was that one penalty that they conceded, of course, against China in the group stages, but a corner that wasn't properly cleared, and England a little under threat there. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, our England reporter, is watching on in Brisbane. Courtney, what have you made of the opening stages?
It very much, Joe, reminds me of the Haiti game, really. Aside for the first 5 minutes, it's been very transitional. I said before the game I was worried if we played a 3 how we'd deal with that in the wide areas, and the fact that Lucy Bronze and Rachel Daly might have to be a little bit more pragmatic, and I think you can see that at the moment in terms of Nigeria trying to find those wide areas because we're playing that tight 3. They're boxing Kira off as well, very, very similar again to the Haiti game. The number 9 is blocking the path to her from the front, and then behind the 10 is stepping up on her. So yeah, I think it's I must admit, Joe, I'm a little bit nervous at this moment in time.
Well, it wouldn't be tournament football without a few nerves, Jenna, but do you agree with what Courtney's saying and the effectiveness with which Nigeria tried to counteract Kira Walsh in particular?
Yeah, I am. I think it's to be expected, and just going on what Courtney's saying about the 3 at the back and the space out wide, I think if England can stop those balls over the top into those wide areas, they've got to stop the balls higher up the pitch that the defenders aren't put in these situations, especially if Bronze and Daly are kicking on higher up the pitch.
And Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, as I say, live from the stadium in Brisbane, and she will bring us all of the post-match reaction. Been doing a great job of doing that pre and post-match across the tournament, and if we can hear from Serena Wiegman live, whatever the result after the game, we'll bring you that interview with Courtney asking the questions on Talksport 2. 15 and a half minutes gone, England 0, Nigeria 0 it remains, but certainly a sense early on. England ran away with it early on against China in the group stages. That doesn't feel like it's going to happen here, and in fact Nigeria the better team at the moment. Long ball by Promptra over the top, headed away by Alex Greenwood. It just evaded Kanu, but there's an opportunity for her to spin and turn and whip in the cross into the near post. Greenwood with another important intervention. It's come out to Promptra. What a save by Earps! Turned it onto the bar. Here they come, Nigeria again. Kanu into the penalty area. Left-footed effort. That's another great block. England really under siege now. Ajibade has it. Left-hand edge of the 18-yard box for Nigeria. She whips in the cross. England get it away again. This time it's Carter at the near post. Promptra once more. Earps makes another great save. For Mary Earps, England's number 1, with an outstanding passage of play. The second save was good, but the first onto the bar was sensational, and arguably the save of the tournament so far. It's still 0-0.
Yeah, unbelievable from Earps. Looks like it's curling in. Gets a fingertip to it. It's Promptra. Two attempts against Earps. Earps gets down well for the final one, but this is the one. Comes crashing off of the crossbar. England under a lot of pressure here. They've got to ride this wave now. They need the calm heads, soak up the pressure. Some great defending as well. Last-ditch ending from Alex Greenwood early on there to brave defending at the near post in the build-up to that opportunity coming crashing off the crossbar.
Well, it looked like Earps had got a touch on the drive from Promptra. Maybe actually she didn't, having looked at the replays. It might have been clean off the crossbar, but the second save certainly was an important one, and Nigeria will feel very unfortunate, Jenna, that they're not a goal to the good here in Brisbane.
Yeah, they've definitely been the better of the two teams here, especially in the last 5 minutes, putting England under a lot of pressure, and it's all started from the ball over the top into the wide channels again. They've got so much pace. I think England now just got to get the ball down, get some passes in, just keep calm. They've rode that wave there.
Well, this is just a measure of exactly what we were talking about before the game, and Serena Wiegman, of course, and the England squad will have stressed this. There's no room for complacency. In fact, she said everybody who plays us wants to beat us. We've all seen this tournament that nothing is easy, and if there are any Lionesses fans who are feeling it would be a straightforward passage to the quarter-finals, those doubts have long gone. Nigeria have started very impressively, and what a story it would have been for Ashley Promptra, who played for England up until the under-23 stage and very nearly put Nigeria ahead.
She's been great these opening stages of this match. She's getting very high. 2 opportunities there.
One of them crashing off the crossbar. It did look initially at first glance that Earps had touched that onto the bar. Again, we've seen one replay of it on our monitor in the commentary position. I think it was clean off the bar, the effort from Plumcher. Here is Bronze for England, deep into opposition territory. Hasselland harried by Ajibade, plays it back to Millie Bright, the number 6, England skipper. Bright floats the ball long into the penalty area. Too much on that for Lauren James. He's hardly been able to have a kick in the first 19 minutes. And through it goes to Nigeria goalkeeper Chimaka Nnadozie.
Yeah, Bright was quite high up the pitch. You could see what she was trying to do. Just find that lofted pass over Lauren James. Just too heavy on the execution.
Of course, if England do make it through, we bring you the quarter-final in Sydney live on the Talksport network, as well as the Premier League this week. We mentioned our 4 exclusive national radio commentaries this weekend to come. We also have Carabao Cup football for you on Tuesday and Wednesday nights around the grounds on Talksport. And on Talksport 2, we've got commentary on Tuesday of Gillingham against Southampton in the first round, and on Wednesday night of Wimbledon against Coventry City. More live football than anywhere else on national radio here on the Talksport network. Rachel Daly on the burst over the halfway line for England from left wing back. Forward up the middle towards Lauren Hemp. Out wide hugging the touchline is Lauren James. James shaping to drive infield, holds the play up. Hemp on that left wing, taking on the defenders. She's surrounded by 2 in Nigeria green. One of them is Kanu, who pokes the ball through the legs of Hemp and out of play for a throw to England. It is interesting, given that Nigeria have started so well. They have the player who you would say on paper is their best attacking talent in Asisat Oshoala of Barcelona, who's been so outstanding in the European game. But maybe we can see why, Jenna, Randy Waldrum has gone with the tactics and formation that he's gone with.
Yeah, and I think if they keep this up and they play this with this intent when they haven't got the ball, bringing on a player like Oshoala, you wouldn't want to play against her, especially if you're under pressure. Bringing on a player of that calibre would be frightening. So I think maybe actually he's getting his game plan spot on.
Well, England have been under pressure. They are fortunate not to be a goal down, but goalless it remains. Michelle Alozzi of Houston Dash in the United States takes a throw from the right back position, then it's steered upfield by the number 10 Uchebi up towards Onumonu on the halfway line. Serena Beekman stands, stern look on her face on the edge of the technical area, dressed all in dark blue, hands behind her back. A little concern, as I say, from the Lionesses' boss. Rachel Daly spins and turns away on the far side, the England left, and she plays it back to Alex Greenwood, who's just inside England territory. Greenwood has got options square and further forward. One of them is Hemp, plays it back now to Walsh, and a square pass to Stanway. Stanway evades the attentions of the sliding Ajibade, and now here is Lucy Bronze, 10 yards into the Nigeria half, and England just getting a foot on the ball, Jenna, and just trying to assert themselves. Are they on the game again?
Yeah, and it's needed. I think this Nigerian team set up to frustrate teams, so once they've got the ball, they've just got to take care of it and be patient, not rush the play, not force the play, just look after the ball, and those spaces will appear because they definitely have the quality, technical ability to find those spaces. They've just got to be patient.
It's a back pass from Ahale to the goalkeeper, whose clearance hangs up high in the air midway inside the Nigeria half. A mild night in this part of Australia, Brisbane. England are based not too far from Sydney, about 90 minutes north of Sydney, at Terrigal Beach, and that's where they have been training, of course, in the build-up. Kira Walsh trained fully yesterday. She's been in from the start, but she hasn't really been able to exert her usual influence on the game. It's her ball through the middle up towards James in the centre circle. James trying to poke it down the middle further towards him. Oh, a miscue by the defender. Russo shoots. Great save, Nnadozie. Well, that was a complete miskick from Demaheen, the defender. Russo with an instant snapshot, and Nnadozie, who's been very good in the goal for Nigeria across the tournament so far, made a good reflex save away to her left.
Demen just really let off there, just completely fluffed the clearance, and Doozy again saving the day. She gets down early, made herself big and made the save, but nearly a very, very big error.
Good work from the Paris goalkeeper. We mentioned the penalty save against Canada on match day 1. She broke the record in 2019 when she became the youngest goalkeeper at the World Cup that year. to play 90 minutes in a game and keep a clean sheet at a World Cup match, aged just 18. And clearly a goalkeeper with a lot of promise and potential. It's a Nigeria free kick on halfway, hammered long by Ademahin, who got away with that mistake. It's a mistake from the free kick as well. She shanked that long and out of play for a goal kick to England away to the left. It was a sharp reaction and a smart shot from Rousseau. I guess a player of her standard and quality is always going to be disappointed not to score from that sort of position, but it's a good save.
Yeah, you can see she takes a look, she sees Ndozi coming out, and then just fires it straight at her. Probably could have done better. Ndozi was on her way down.
She's had a couple of frustrating outings at the World Cup so far, Rousseau. Crossing from Melozi for Nigeria into the middle of the England penalty area, almost reached Ajibade, but hacked away by Carter for England up to the halfway line. An enterprising display to this point from a Nigeria side who are the highest ranked African team at the World Cup. They went unbeaten in the group stages, remember? Unbeaten in the group stage for the first time, including a win over the co-hosts Australia. Now Carter in a battle with Ajibade again in the England right back position. Carter has smuggled that away. Has Ajibade been penalised? I think she has, by Melissa Borjas, the referee from Honduras. So an England free kick. England 0, Nigeria 0. Chances at both ends in the first 25 minutes. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, our England reporter.
Yeah, chances at both ends. An interesting stat that's just come up on the scoreboard. It's actually Nigeria with more that chance there. Lesia Russo had, that's our only shot. Nigeria have had, I think it's 6 now. When it popped up it was 5, but it's now 6. And for me, England are looking better though when we can play through Kira Walsh. For the lot of the early exchanges, I think we've tried to go over the top and use Lauren Hemp's pace, which obviously you would do, but they're no slouches at the back, Nigeria. And the thing I loved about the China game was the playing through the thirds. We were, had freedom and free flowing, and I've not seen that quite as much today. But when we can get Kira on the ball, play through her and play forward, it looks a lot better.
England 0, Nigeria 0 it remains, and it's always going to be difficult when teams set up to target a player like Kira Walsh, as Courtney was saying, Jenna, but important for England to try and find a foothold in this match.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously Kira Walsh is key to the way we play. We've seen it a few times now as the match has gone on, when they have found Kira Walsh, the 1-2 touches to move the ball around a rigid Nigerian midfield and defence, it works, but they just have to be patient and find that quality in there.
It's 0-0, the last 16 of the Women's World Cup, and there's 2 balls on the pitch actually, so the referee, has she seen that? I don't think she has.
She did.
They've got rid of it anyway, haven't they? A play goes on. I guess it wasn't impacting play directly. Here's Lucy Bronze in the right wing position for England. Plays it back to Jess Carter. Time and space to hang up a cross. Carter swings it in. James on the volley over the top. Her back was to goal. Jess Carter, Lauren James on the volley. We saw it against China. It didn't quite work out, but I think, Jenna, that's got a deflection and it's an England corner.
It has, you see, it's a great ball in again from Carter. It's behind James. She's trying the spectacular, gets the deflection. It's all she could do there in that situation.
Well, she loves the spectacular. And it was that combination for one of the goals in the round of 16. Alex Greenwood is going to take the corner for England on the near side. It'll be left-footed. What's the referee doing here? She's just seen coming together on the goal line almost. Stanway is standing very close, and Hemp is there as well. Greenwood whips into the delivery to the near post. It's headed away. Volley by Rousseau. Saved by the goalkeeper. It was Daly with the shot. Good stop by Ndozi on the goal line. Reaction save once again from the Nigerian goalkeeper, in England that kept at bay. The ball is still right down by the corner flag. Uchevi with a little back heel. That's hit the shins of Lucy Bronze and got out of play. It's a Nigeria throw, but Rachel Daly denied her second World Cup goal.
Yeah, the corner again, defended well. Is Daly, hardly any backlift on the shot, but again it's straight at Ndozi. Makes great contact, but you'd expect Ndozi to save it from there.
You're right, because Daly had to really stretch to reach that. It was a tremendous attempt.
Yeah, she was had the standing foot and just had to get as much backlift as she did. She got a lot of power on it. But as we say, it was straight at Ndozi, lots of bodies in front of her.
Yep, 2 hands up to palm it away. 0-0, but that's better from England. It really has been a first 28 and a half minutes, Jenna, that's ebbed and flowed, hasn't it? Both sides have had good spells.
Yeah, I think Nigeria started the better team, but as the half's gone on, I think England are growing into the game.
Forward pass by Bronze, inside right channel, way too much on that for Lauren Hemp, who can't keep it in play. Goal kick to Nigeria, away to our right-hand side. Colombia or Jamaica await the winners in the quarter-finals. If England were to make it through, then a potential, I say potential, semi-final matchup against one of Australia, Denmark, France or Morocco. And then who knows, but it really is a fruitless endeavour to think too far ahead in tournament football, and I think we've seen that based on an impressive first half an hour or so from the underdogs, and it's still goals.
Yeah, and I think that's what was key coming into this game. This wasn't a given win for this England team. Nigeria are a very, very good team with some really good talented players in there, and together they're a hard team to beat, hard team to break down. They're defensively excellent, and then they have those threats that we're seeing going forward. They're using the wide areas very well. They're spotting it, and England now look like they're getting a foothold into the game, and these are the moments now when the counter-attack is on. Can England play quickly to punish the Nigerian team?
James trying to drive down the far side, the England left, and she wins the free kick. It was a foul by Halimatu Ayinde, who is a tenacious holding midfielder, but maybe a little too tenacious there, and certainly for the liking of the referee. Ayinde, who grew up in Kaduna in Nigeria, which is a real hotbed of footballing talent in the country. Nigeria, who have a great World Cup pedigree. They're playing at their 9th Women's World Cup. They're one of just 7 teams to have featured at every tournament, and they are keeping England at bay so far.
Well, Ayinde taking no risk there. Lauren Jay's just going through the gears there, change of pace and taking no risk, just stopping her in her tracks.
Stopping the rhythm of England so far. The free kick that Alex Greenwood will hoist into the penalty area, driven in high. There's an England player who went down, and the referee has pointed to the spot. Rachel Daly sent to ground, almost flung herself up into the air. It was a spectacular crash to the floor, and the referee Melissa Borjas had no hesitation to point to the spot, and England will have a chance to take the lead here.
Yeah, no hesitation at all. You see Daly there. Yeah, it's an elbow into the back of the neck of Daly. Referee's got a great view of it. Just gone through the back of Daly there. Referee in the great eye line of the incident, and now the players have got to do their best just to keep Nigeria players away from Georgia Stamo, who I assume who's going to be taking the pen.
So England 0, Nigeria 0. A penalty coming up for England. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, what did you make of the decision?
I think it's fortuitous. I think where you see it, I know there's the elbow there at the back, but that's because Rachel Daly, she's very clever with her movement. She gets in front of her and she stops, and obviously the momentum of the defender is going forward. I think VAR are having a look at this now, just double checking. I wouldn't be surprised if they asked the referee to come and look at this again, to be honest.
Yeah, I just wonder, on that theme, as you say, how much contact really was there? The VAR is checking the penalty incident. It's Ajibade leading in on Daly. I mean, look, she certainly didn't get anywhere near the ball. It's a clumsy challenge, and we will see what VAR recommends, and will they recommend Melissa Borjas to check the pitch side monitor? At the moment that isn't taking place. The ball has been placed on the spot by England's Georgia Stanway, who scored a twice taken penalty against Nigeria, but against Haiti on match day 1 of the group stages. But the referee is coming to have a look at the pitch side monitor, and Jenna, we know that 9 times out of 10 this means the decision will be overturned.
Yeah, she's just seeing it again here. See Daly making the run from the top of the box to get away from the defender, and then there's the movement just in front of the defender. She has got her shoulder on her. Daly stops, and that's when the contact's made.
Is there enough contact, do you think, to warrant a penalty kick from Ajibade?
I think Daly makes the most of it, to be honest. Seeing it there, she kind of backs in a little bit, but there is contact.
When you look at it slow-mo in particular, and of course the referee's having the benefit of watching the replay, and she's seen a couple of angles of the incident now. Well, there is an arm over the shoulder of Daly, and actually from a reverse angle, then you look at it and you think actually there is more contact than we thought. It is a much clumsier challenge than we thought.
Yeah, definitely a clumsy challenge. There is the contact there from the angle we're seeing it at now. Daly stops, defender goes through her. Is there enough contact though?
We welcome listeners from Talksport. VAR check on a potential penalty here for England. The referee has made her decision.
After the on-field review, the decision is no penalty.
And the penalty call is overturned. Ajibade on England's Rachel Daly. The referee initially pointed to the spots. The contact looked clumsy but minimal, and in the end the decision is overturned. So no spot kick for the Lionesses. 11 minutes remaining in the first half of this round of 16 tie. A place in the quarter-finals on Saturday at stake, and it remains England 0, Nigeria 0. No penalty kick then, Jenna Scannacci.
No pen, seeing it there. I think when we're watching it back on the slow-mo, you can see why the ref gave it straight away, but looking at it back, contact doesn't look as great as initially seemed.
And here comes Ajibade at the heart of that incident down the Nigeria left, trying to take on Lucy Bronze. Bronze makes a half tackle. Nigeria may be spurred on by that decision. Ball played infield. There were big cheers around the stadium when that decision was announced. You heard it from the referee, and of course these on-field announcements have been a feature of the Women's World Cup. I'd open up here for Uchebe, edge of the box, plays it wide to the right-hand side, and Kanu cuts in on the left foot, little back heel towards Alozi, and Lauren James gets back. It's a Nigeria throw, over the edge of the 18-yard box, and you can see why Nigeria have won some hearts and minds at this tournament so far.
Yeah, being created up top as well. The back heel, the overlapping run from Alozi there on the right-hand side, just didn't quite execute the final back heel, but Nigeria again.
Oh, here's a chance in the penalty area. Ajibade blocks off, rebound driven wide. And there's a corner that's been given by the referee. There was a late challenge on Jess Carter by Uchebe, who struck the rebound wide of goal. Must have taken a big deflection on its way through. The initial effort from Ajibade was excellently blocked by Bright, and then Carter got enough on the rebound to turn it behind for a corner. This game has really ebbed and flowed, and at times England have defended pretty desperately to hang on in there.
Yeah, Ajibade, the key player for Nigeria, her first touch there just to take it away from the defender, to get the shot off. Millie Bright in the right place at the right time to get the block off, but Ajibade is a real handful right now.
And this round of 16 tie feels like it could go either way. Live on Talksport 2, England in Brisbane, 0-0 against Nigeria, but Nigeria have a corner. Tony Payne, the set-piece specialist, will take it. The number 7, right-footed in, swinging into the 6-yard box, Plumtre's header, and that's going to drift wide of goal. Goal kick to England, but another warning for the Lionesses.
It is, and Ajibade really is growing into this half, isn't she? She's at the heart of everything. The header there, just off target. I think Mary Earps now will just try and slow the game down.
Well, they've certainly played this match in fits and starts up to this point. That's a poor layoff by Russo. Facing her own goal and midway inside her own territory. Lauren James retrieves the loose ball, dropping deep for England. Floats it high up the Lionesses' right-hand channel. Chasing is Lauren Hemp. She's got the pace to beat Demaheen. She's beaten Demaheen. Russo in the middle. Hemp a tight angle. Demaheen did well. She got back, made the challenge on Hemp. Had to make it a perfect one inside the penalty area. Nigeria get it clear. It's come back to Bronze, who crosses. That's come off the defender this time. It's a Harley, and it's gone behind. Uchebe's gone down hurt. Corner to England coming up anyway.
Yeah, fantastic recovery there from Demaheen. Hemp had got the better of her, but she recovers well. She gets back in position. Really well defended, really well defended.
Well, you know what it's like, Jenna, to come up against Lauren Hemp, I'm sure, with the pace that she's got, and not often that a centre-half can recover in a race like that.
No, she did really well. She used her body just to get back in position, slow Hemp down, and won the challenge there.
Uchebe's back on her feet. 38 minutes gone, England 0, Nigeria 0. Greenwood's delivery from the corner, out comes the goalkeeper, punches it away two-handed, out to James on the edge of the box, a looping effort, miles over the top. So goalless it remains in the FIFA Women's World Cup on 2023. on Talksport 2 in association with Xero small business accounting software. Dream bigger. Nadozie has had an excellent game so far. Nigeria have played with great spirit. The side ranked 36 places lower than England in the FIFA World Rankings, although so often, of course, world rankings are pretty obsolete anyway, especially once you get right into the heart of a major tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. At knockout stages, I think that's irrelevant, isn't it? Anything can happen. It's football. We've all been in this game far too long to think it otherwise. But Nadozie there again from the set piece, rising above everyone.
Yeah, did really well. The goalkeeper, as you say, is not the tallest. Uchebi for Nigeria, throwing the ball up the outside right channel, looking for the overlapping on of Alozie, who's now out of position because England have intercepted, and they're on the break with Russo, threading it up the far side touchline. Lauren Hemp is there to it. It's only really Lauren James in the penalty area for England. Now Russo collects the ball, 5 yards from the corner of the box. Back it goes to Walsh. Crossfield from left to right, collected neatly by Bronze. Bronze plays the ball back to Carter. Carter, good weight on that pass. Tearing forward is Georgia Stanway, down by the dead ball line. Ajibade makes the block. That was a really nice passage of play for England.
Yeah, nice move, but Russo is dropping so deep to receive the ball that when we are attacking, there's not actually anyone in the box, so you have to slow down the play again, wait for the numbers to arrive and switch the play. You want to see Russo staying in the box so that she can be that target player. But a good passage of play. They had to be patient and they've got the corner out of it.
What can England do with this set-piece delivery? Now Stanway's going to take this one, so it will swing away from goal. Right-footed, 2 arms up into the air. England looking for the breakthrough late in the first half. Stanway drills in the corner, almost reached Daly. Hemp on the volley from the edge of the box. Again, she can't keep it down. Not quite finding her shooting boots, her shooting range in this game so far, Lauren James, as she did so spectacularly against China twice and against Denmark on match day 2 of the group stages, but it was a little lower. It's getting closer anyway.
Third time lucky maybe. But Nigeria defended the first phase of that corner well again. Lauren James, second time there, just on the edge of the box, not marked, trying to execute the first time volley. I think she had time there maybe to bring it down. Went for the spectacular again. You get the sense it might be coming soon.
Talksport 2 at the Women's World Cup. Live now on Talksport, of course. It's Talksport Breakfast. Natalie Sawyer and Andy Townsend keep you company this morning. Jim White, Alex Crook and Martin Keown with you on Talksport from 10 till 1. You can catch up with the White and Jordan podcast as well. So many great guests, including Gareth Southgate, the England men's boss, last week. And hear his interview again on the White and Jordan podcast. Talksport Breakfast every day of the week in the build-up to the opening weekend of the Premier League season, where we've got everything covered for you on the network. We start with Burnley against Manchester City on Friday night. 2 games on Saturday, Arsenal against Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth against West Ham. And then on Monday night football returns to Talksport with Manchester United against Wolves. Mary Earps all in that pink goalkeeping kit today. Clearance up to the halfway line, chested down well by Russo under little pressure, but again, a very deep lying position on the halfway line, as you say, Jenna.
Yeah, very deep again, and it just leaves Hemp up top isolated. Just want to see her a little bit staying higher up the pitch, leave the midfield to cover that area.
Walsh has got the ball midway inside her own half, back to Carter. Carter, risky back pass to Earps. It was fired at the feet of the goalkeeper, had to hurriedly clear it. And a stretching left-footed ball from Bright. England don't really have full control of the game, and Nigeria coming forward again on the far side. They're right. Opportunity for a cross into the box towards the edge of the penalty area. Could fall for Ajibade. Scooped high into the evening sky by Carter. Dark skies and the floodlights on overhead. Ajibade once again looks a real player with the pink boots on. Tries the return ball from Plumcher. Down by the dead ball line. Ajibade goes down. The challenge from Carter was a fair one. No free kick given by the referee. I think Ajibade trying to buy a free kick there. She has won a throw though, with 2.5 minutes of the first half left.
Yeah, Plumcher again, and Ajibade, real good connection, strong connection out on this left-hand side. They're moving the ball well. 1-2 touches to progress the team higher up the pitch.
Ashley Plumcher ready to hoist this throw in long, it looks like, for Nigeria, who have won 2 out of the 3 previous meetings between the sides, and that is a free kick given in favour of England. Onumonu penalised. The Nigeria attack comes to an end. It's the second World Cup meeting between the two. England won in the group stages in 1995, just the second ever Women's World Cup. England 3 wins from 3 at the tournament so far, and unbeaten in 20 competitive games. They've never lost a competitive match under Serena Wiegmann. Daly dropping deeper than left wing back, almost traditional left back spot for England here. And Daly driving towards the halfway line, the number 9, with her socks rolled halfway down her shins. Played it to the left. Hemp controls. Far side touchline, taking on the defender, Ahale. Hemp goes on the outside, uses her pace brilliantly, flicks in the cross to the near post. Goalkeeper spills it, gets away with it. Hammered clear by Demaheen.
Yeah, excellent work there from Hemp down the left-hand side, just using her pace. She gets the delivery in. And Dozie again does well. Luckily, she parried it. There was no England player chasing the second ball up there because she's parried it straight out into the penalty box, but just needs an England player just getting a bit closer to Ndozie, because she's parried it a few times now, but there's no one following up that second ball.
And that's what I like so often about Lauren Hemp, Jenna, and you know, in the best possible way. It's kind of like old-fashioned wing play, using your pace and almost hugging the touchline.
Yeah, simple, just making the pitch big as you can, and she's got the delivery as well to get the ball into the box, and we've seen that there. Just no England players alert to the second ball.
Daly was caught out of the back there momentarily for England, but Russo, Greenwood rather, recovered to make a good interception before it could reach Kanu through the middle. England with Kira Walsh just inside opposition territory. Sprays the ball crossfield, left to right. That's a lovely pass. Picked up beautifully by Bronze. Bronze with the cross. Oh, it nearly reached Lauren Hemp. And had it done so, she'd have had a real opportunity for a clear shot in on goal. In the end, when intercepted by Demaheen, Nigeria clear only as far as halfway. 4 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. 0-0 on Talksport 2. Hemp spinning and turning. 5 yards from the edge of the D. Hemp wriggling away from her marker Uchebi. Well, only momentarily. Nigeria's number 10 of Benfica has got it back and knocked it out of play.
Yeah, Bronze, you could see what she was doing. Hemp was pointing for the ball. She's making the run and defended well. Great defending there from Nigeria's number 10 to depossess.
Nigeria fans are loving it. They are always well supported at the World Cup. Nigeria, the men's and women's sides, had some iconic kits over the years as well. England with Georgia Stanway playing it back to the halfway line, and Jess Carter. Both sides have had excellent spells, both sides have had big chances, but neither team has been able to make the breakthrough. Daly down the far side, the England left, sliding in Losing. Firm but fair tackle. Daly sent to ground. She'll be okay, I'm sure, to get back up on her feet. We have had a minute of the 4 added at the end of the first half, and kind of sums up that challenger. A pretty fearless approach from the Nigerians so far.
Yeah, they're giving absolutely everything, aren't they? Challenges, going in 100%, not backing out of anything. A real match-up.
And they're tactically a well-organised team, and Randy Waldrum, the head coach, did allude to that before the game. He said that often teams that are the so-called underdogs are actually tactically better prepared to face the so-called bigger nations. That's kind of how it's felt so far, but England are on the attack. Stanway down the right, infield to Bronze, takes it well, but just can't keep it in play. Down by the dead ball line, a touch took her away from the defender, just a bit too much on it in the end, Jenna Scalacci.
Yeah, Bronze has made a run infield into the penalty box, just a really heavy touch. Just a little combination there between Bronze and Stanway. Stanway finds her back, and it's just the heavy touch, but great movement from Bronze and Stanway. They're just exchanging positions. Just heavy, that takes the ball out for the goal kick.
Lucy Bronze on the burst, couldn't quite get to it. She has drawn level with Karen Carney's 17 England caps at a World Cup today. Here come Nigeria with Onumonu caught on the penalty area, whipping it across, headed away by Daly. 90 seconds of the allotted added time in the first half to go, a minimum of 4 added minutes. And Uchebi trying to jink away from Russo just on halfway. Plays it back into the Nigeria half, and Demaheen, and here's the goalkeeper in bright yellow with the short sleeves, Ndozie. Forward to Ahale. And Randy Waldrum, I think, will definitely be the happier of the two head coaches.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you're looking at the first half, I think they've stopped England from really any clear-cut chances. If anything, they've looked a lot more dangerous going forward. They had the better opportunities. So I think Nigeria will go into the changing rooms the happier of the two teams.
England have not clicked yet. Here is goalkeeper Ndozie again, playing it square to Denaheen on the edge of the box. Nigeria, I think, almost just content to play out time at the end of the first half. At this stage, long from Ndozie upfield, the goalkeeper, header away by Bright. Got coverage of every Women's World Cup game across the tournament. Reporters at all of the important matches, including Australia against Denmark in the round of 16, which gets underway, I think, at 11:30 local time for us. Indeed, that is the case. Australia and Denmark would be potential semi-final opponents for England, but that does feel a long way away at the moment. Long from the halfway line by Ahale, and the half-time whistle blows, and England have not really clicked into gear just yet. They are arguably unfortunate not to be behind. They've had a penalty that never was. Rachel Daly thought she'd been fouled by Rasheedat Ajibade in the 18-yard box. The referee went to check her pitchside monitor after a VAR recommendation. In the end, decided to overrule the initial decision, so no penalty was given. And aside from efforts from Alessia Russo and Daly that have both been saved by the Nigeria goalkeeper Ndozie, that's really been the sum of things for Serena Wiegman's team. Nigeria have played with courage, they've played with great enterprise, and they have come closest. Ashley Plumtree of Leicester City with a thumping rising drive that crashed off the bar and away to safety. Russo has also made an important, not quite goal line clearance, but important header away from inside the 6-yard box, when England were under pressure, and it does feel like a round of 16 tie that is somewhat in the balance. Half-time in Brisbane, certainly in the balance in terms of the scoreline. England 0, Nigeria 0.
Yeah, it really is. Thank you very much, Joe. The European champions against the African champions. Not disappointing as a spectacle for the neutrals so far. Goalless, but you have to say, Nigeria, ranked 40 in the world, Jenna, are on top of this so far.
Yeah, they've definitely had, I think they'll be the happier of the two teams going in now. I think they've by far had the best chances, and they've really nullified our main strengths. We've not seen too much of Lauren James at all. Kira Walsh is kind of in and out of the game. They're managing her well. I think they've been very organised. I think defensively they've been solid, and going forward they're looking very dangerous.
Our England reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk is in the stadium in Brisbane. Courtney, the problem with the back three in this circumstance is it leaves quite a lot of space behind Daly and Bronze, and Nigeria have really exploited that. It's been far too easy for them to get crosses in.
Yeah, it does, and I think I mentioned it, before the game and for the last few days. Yes, that obviously formation worked extremely well against China, but with the personnel that Nigeria have got, I was worried that we'd get the situation that we've got. They're exploiting it very well. In terms of the transitional periods, I think Nigeria are well above on that. They're getting into good areas, and then they're not just crossing it in the box willy-nilly. They're very good on the ball. They're technical. They're trying to drive into the box. And as I say, I think for me that Nigeria have been the better team for sure in the first half, and I'm just looking over now. As the pitch it will go, Nigeria will be shooting the same side as England, so left to right were in the first half, and there's a pocket of Nigeria fans just by the left hand side corner flag, so I imagine every time Nigeria go forward you're going to hear about it in that sense.
Yeah, you've heard their drums throughout commentary, haven't you? They've been in fine voice, and actually so many shots on goal from Nigeria, but hitting the crossbar. Leicester's Ashley Plumtree, Jenna, has been absolutely fantastic. Couple of cracking chances. The crossbar saved one, and actually that looked like it had beaten Mary Earps.
Yeah, I mean, initially we thought she'd got a fingertip to it, but it did come crashing off the bar. But yeah, Plumtree and Ajibade on the left hand side have been really, really good, connecting really well, and that's definitely where the main threat is coming from. And Plumtree's getting very high up the pitch and had a great first half. Two
massive blocks as well from Millie Bright and Jess Carter. What do England need to do, Courtney? Because they're just not getting Lauren James on the ball enough at all for my money, and they've not really had any clear-cut chances apart from that VAR decision.
No, or the gift that was presented to Alessia Russo. I think probably she will be disappointed she didn't do better with that. I think if Kira is being man-marked in the way that she is, then that opens up the space for Lauren James as well. So I think we've got to be better at, if we can't get into Kira, bypassing her, and the movement for Lauren to drop into that pocket and to find her. And then the issue with the back line, I think you either need to change formation and go 4 at the back, or you need to make sure that both Lucy and Lucy Bronze and Rachel Daly don't go at the same time and almost sort of play an inverted 4 at times, and you just let the fullback go with the side of the ball and everyone then drops round and makes us a bit more secure.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one last one on that VAR decision, overturned by the referee in terms of a penalty. Was your view better? I mean, we've seen the replays, and one angle it looks really blatant that she pushes her over. The other, it looks like Rachel Daly makes an absolute meal of it. What did you make of it, Courtney?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm sort of in the camp with the second. It's the fact that the way that Rachel does it, she's actually clever. Look, she gets her body in front. That's what you're taught to do. I know she's playing wing back today, but as a forward. But what she does is she stops and she halts her momentum, and obviously the defender's still got the momentum, so goes into the back of her. I think it's one of those that if it's against your side, you'll be disappointed if it's given. So there was undoubtedly contact, but we know going forward nowadays in terms of the referee and the bars are getting set higher and higher, and I don't think it was enough for a penalty in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a bit soft, wasn't it? Right, so at the break, the Lionesses have it all to do here on Talksport 2. Quarter-finals seem a very long way away at the moment. Goalless at half-time between England and Nigeria. Second half action coming up next. We hear the PA announcer in Brisbane start to call the players out for this second half. I can see the substitutes warming up as well. A real light show going on at the Suncorp Stadium as well. Round about, I'm just trying to work out what the time is locally out there. I think it's something like 7 o'clock in the evening, so an earlier kickoff than we've had for England matches so far, but very much looking forward to this second half. England really need to step things up, otherwise they are out of the World Cup, joining the likes of USA, Germany, Brazil and Canada. Let's hope that does not happen. Last 16 match, second half action coming up from England against Nigeria, with your commentary team of former Tottenham captain Jenna Scalacci alongside your commentator Joe Shenner.
Thank you, Faye. Yes, no question, it's been a World Cup punctuated by shocks, and England are hoping to avoid becoming the latest victims of a surprise result here in Australia and New Zealand, but they have a lot of work to do. Never lost a competitive match under Sarina Wiegman, it's worth saying. Their only defeat in 35 matches under their Dutch head coach was in a friendly against Australia at the Brentford Community Stadium on April the 11th. That aside, it's a totally unblemished record. And Sarina Wiegman, who made just the one alteration to the starting 11 for today, it was the obvious change to bring back Keira Walsh. And just looking around on the field of play, it doesn't look like there are any half-time changes. That's not a great surprise. You rarely see Sarina Wiegman overreact at half-time or overreact to a result. I mean, there haven't been too many poor performances or halves of football for her to be concerned about with England, but Nigeria have certainly proven that they are here to compete, and they believe they can edge out England and move into the quarter-finals themselves. The floodlights are on in Brisbane. We are back underway. 45 minutes, potentially England from the last 8 at the World Cup, but it's 0-0 against Nigeria, and there is still a lot of work to do. England from right to left in the second half, white shirts, dark blue shorts and white socks. Nigeria from left to right, all in green. The teams are unchanged. England, Earps in goal, Carter, Bright and Greenwood the back three, with Bronze and Daly the wing backs, Stanway and Walsh the two in midfield, and James behind Hemp and Russo. Nigeria, Ndozi, the impressive goalkeeper, Alozi, Demaheen, Ahale and Plumcher, who hit the bar in the first half at the back, Uchebe and Ainde in midfield, Ajibade, who's looked very lively and gave away what she thought was a penalty in the first half, though the call was overturned after a VAR check, Payne and Onumonu in midfield, Kanu up front, and arguably Nigeria's most effective attacking player, Asisat Oshoala, waits ready to come on off the bench. Kanu's got it for Nigeria, central position, it's laid square to her, tries to play it through the middle towards Uchebe, then there's a spin and turn on the edge of the box by Payne. Payne drifting out towards the left hand side now, she's played it back into the path of the left back, Ahale, who scoops it into the penalty area, the looping header off the woodwork from Kanu, and Nigeria hit the bar for the second time in the game, and this time it's Uchenna Kanu with a header that seemed to just hang in the air for an age, and it dropped down onto the top of the bar. and then fortunately for England, onto the roof of the net. Another warning for the Lionesses just seconds into the second half, Janice Galanci.
Yeah, Nigeria have started the second half how they left the first. It was a great ball, great delivery into the back post. Kanu just rises higher than Daly and coming off the crossbar again.
England a really slow start to the second period as the ball is cleared downfield by Jess Carter towards Alessia Russo, knocked out of play by a stretching Plumcher, and England have a throw, and now maybe England can get started in the second half. I wonder what the tactical message from Serena Wiegman would have been.
Well, I think it's to watch those wide areas, but early on we've seen the threat come again. I think England need to be really careful of Alozie, number 22 for Nigeria, who's continuously making that overlapping run on the right hand side. She's always an option. I think in that attack there, the Nigerian striker made the wrong decision because she'd already made the overlapping room, had loads of space out on the right hand side.
Here's Hemp for England racing forward though, 25 yards out, she's got the pace to beat Alozie. Hemp held up by Alozie. Alozie did really well to just jockey Hemp and force her into a much wider position, because at one stage it looked like she was going to burst clear on goal. England are able to retain possession.
Yeah, fantastic defending again, just delaying the attack. By the time Hemp had got in the box, there were so many green shirts around her, she had absolutely nowhere to go.
Rachel Daly crosses from the left, great header away by Demaheen in front of Russo. Maybe this round of 16 ties starting to heat up now. England, remember, if they were to get through, would play the Colombia or Jamaica in the quarters on Saturday in Sydney. That would of course be a game that we'd bring you live on the Talksport network. Every England game will have commentary of, including if they make the final, which is in Stadium Australia in Sydney on Sunday the 20th of August. Here is a spinning, turning James, streaking over the halfway line and finding Rachel Daly in a left wing position, poking it forward, not a good ball towards Hemp, overhit, and England, sometimes it's nearly but not quite in the final third tonight.
Yeah, just a little bit of misunderstanding there. Hemp had made the run from in to out. The ball from Daly was going back in the opposite way to where Hemp was running, but good movement from Hemp up top.
I say tonight, as Faye mentioned earlier, we are well into the evening in the northeastern part of Australia, that is Brisbane here. The ball is out of play now for an England throw in front of the dugout. Serena Wiegman out of her seat to throw it to Rachel Daly, who gets the ball back into play. Now Alex Greenwood in the long sleeve shirt, punts it high up the middle towards Stanway, making a late run from deep, and that's all the way through and into the gloves of the goalkeeper Ndozi.
I think Nigeria will force England, or be happy with England just playing those balls over the top. I think that's not when we're at our best. I think we need to get the ball down, play through the middle, not panicking, rushing with the balls over the top, because defensively it's easy for Nigeria to defend.
Nigeria have it with Uchebe flicking the ball up the far side, the left-hand channel towards Ajibade, the lively Ajibade. And now a crossfield pass from Ayinde, hanging high up the middle, it's chested down brilliantly by Kanu. Kanu on the edge of the D, lays it square, Ajibade's touch is heavy, Bronze gets back, so too does Carter, pirouette away from James. That took two in green out of the game, and England are on the counter-attack. Russo over halfway, took it neatly in her stride, held up though by Demaheen. Russo has to go back into her own territory to find Lucy Bronze. If it was a stroll at times for England against China, in both halves really of that 6-1 group stage win, Nigeria continuing to show they're simply not going to be overwrought or intimidated by this Lionesses team.
Yeah, again we've just seen the space out on the left hand side, and Bronze made the recovery run but too late. She got back, luckily got back and stopped the attack, but for me I think she's just too late getting back in and stopping that space.
Long over the top by Walsh, good starting position, the goalkeeper. She's able to collect on the edge of her penalty area. She would have been able to use her feet to clear from outside the box if she'd had to as well. Alessia Russo, the super sub at the Euros, but has been a fixture in the starting 11 at the World Cup and scored against China in the group stages. Couldn't quite reach it that time. Uchebe, the number 10 for Nigeria. Ajibade threading it up the far side, the left-hand channel. Here comes the left wing cross, headed behind by Millie Bright. Onumonu and Kanu were both waiting inside the penalty area. The England skipper had to get there.
Such an important header there. Good positioning for Millie Bright just to clear that danger. It's heading in. Kanu was making a run. Onumonu, making a run into the near post. Yeah, had to make that. Good positioning.
That's the former Tottenham captain, centre half Janice Galanci. England 0, Nigeria 0. 6.5 minutes into the second half, and Sure, for the Lionesses fans in the stadium, the nerves are starting to crank up a little bit. Nigeria have a corner here. Payne, who is excellent with the set pieces, will take it. Already beaten Australia in this tournament, Nigeria. Hoisted to the edge of the 6-yard box, and Plumtre's looping header. It's going to drift away from goal. Onumonu brings it down, but can't keep it in play on the dead ball line. It was very crowded in the penalty box there, Jenna, but what did you spot in there momentarily?
So the player again on the edge of the box, just free.
Yep.
On the edge of the box. There, if the ball ricochets into her, she's got a free shot on goal again. But that happened in the first half as well. England are just watching the ball in those moments of the set piece, and maybe not the player on the top of the box.
It was Alozie who was free on the edge of the box, as Jenna mentioned. In the end, England survive. Goal kick given, England 0, Nigeria 0. But Nigeria have hit the bar twice over the course of this round of 16 ties so far, and England have been a little under threat. James, though, good ball up the left from the halfway line. Hemp, who's so often been the outlet in this match for England, is chasing. She can't keep it in play. And let's go live to our England reporter, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, inside the stadium. Courtney, what have you made of the start of the second half?
I've been impressed again with Nigeria, to be honest. I think it would have been easy to sort of think, right, first half, sort of job done, and England come out and really push them. But again, it's Nigeria, the impetus, and Ash Plumtre, she's just won the ball back again. She's marauding down that left-hand side, and the balls in the box now are plentiful for Nigeria, and you only feel if England don't start stopping that at source, then it's only going to be a matter of time until someone gets a good touch on that in the box, and it's either going to cause Mary Earps to make a fantastic save, or it's going to be a goal against England. And again, Nigeria have just gone down the right hand side. It's a wonderful ball in, and luckily for England it doesn't quite fall to a green shirt, but I'm really sort of getting a bit nervous about these wide areas. Again, I hear what Jen is saying about Lucy Bronze, and we're getting undone in them wide areas far too much.
Well, Lucy Bronze was caught out of position on the England right, and as you say, Nigeria broke then down their right and very nearly found the picture-perfect cross for Onumonu to turn it home. It just evaded her. That was a heart-in-mouth moment for England followers, Jenna.
It was again, and the ball across the box comes from a wide area again. It's Kanu fizzes through the 6-yard box, and luckily Carter's there in the right place at the right time, and Nigeria don't get the bodies in the box on that occasion. But yeah, everything's coming down that wide area, and just in that phase of play again we saw Lucy Bronze recovering, but it was far too late. She's so high up the pitch and not recovering quick enough. She is obviously one of her strengths is when she's higher up the pitch, but in moments like this, just got to recognise those areas, and that's where the danger's coming from.
And they're being caught out at times. Nigeria the better side in the second half. 0-0 though, 10 minutes into the second period. James has gone down, fouled by Ahale. James has got mud on the back of her white shirt now. Referee Melissa Borjas comes across. There's a talking for Ahale. England free kick in a dangerous position here, and maybe set pieces can prove a route to goal for England, who've scored in each of their last 16 World Cup matches. The first side in Women's World Cup history to score in 16 consecutive games. Can they make it 17 here tonight in Brisbane? They'll certainly take a 1-0 win any day, really, you take at a tournament, and England would certainly take that at this point.
Absolutely. I think this set piece now could be key. You've got Millie Bright up. Excellent in the air. Got to make these moments count now, especially when you're under the pressure that they have been under.
Alex Greenwood is standing over it. It's about 6-7 yards from the corner of the penalty area. 2 in the wall for Nigeria. What's the delivery like from Greenwood? It's a great delivery up towards Russo. Ajibade got back. Maybe that was enough to put off Alessia Russo. Goal kick given, but it's a chance that for England.
Yeah, it was a fantastic ball. Just fizzed in with the left foot. Russo made the run. It's a free head there. Under a little bit of pressure. She's upped her neck back to try and get under it. Just couldn't keep it down on target. I think Ajibade maybe just puts her off. But yeah, just can't direct it on target.
And you're right, it was a more difficult header actually than it looked at first glance. She was having to really arc and stretch her neck muscles to reach it. Actually did well to make contact.
Yeah, it was coming up with such pace, such whipped in there.
Not a bad delivery from Greenwood. Here come England with Hemp, tearing up the left-hand channel. She's blocked off though by Alozie. It's won back by Lauren James. Great feet from James, electric on the ball. It just seems to stick to her feet like glue at times. Across came Ayinde with a good challenge. It's a throw to England deep inside Nigeria territory. England trying to build some momentum in the game and trying to carve out really their first clear-cut chance of the match.
Yeah, not many clear-cut chances at all, other than the Russo one, which she'll be disappointed she didn't do better.
Here is Daly, left wing position, plays it slightly backwards to Walsh. Her attempted reverse ball is blocked. It's dropped down to Millie Bright, who cushions the header square to Greenwood, just inside the Nigeria half. Every England game of the Women's World Cup live on the network. Floated long by Daly, up towards Lucy Bronze, making that trademark back post run. Goalkeeper Nadozie gets the loose ball, as well as Women's World Cup commentary. We have the return of the Premier League this weekend on Friday, with Burnley against Manchester City live and exclusive on Talksport. Arsenal against Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth against West Ham on Saturday. Manchester United against Wolves on Monday. Talksport breakfast every morning from 6 is the place to be for the build-up. Natalie Sawyer and Andy Townsend have been with you this morning on Talksport. Jim White, Alex Cook and Martin Keown, former Arsenal defender, coming up 10 till 1, and the White and Jordan podcast to catch up on all the top guests that they've had of late, including the England men's boss, Gareth Southgate. Now Onumonu is coming off here, and here comes the danger play. Asisat Oshoala, one off, becoming the top scorer for Nigeria in their Women's World Cup history, and the number 8 goes straight up the middle in place of Onumonu. This is what England fans were fearing from a Nigeria perspective before the game, and now just under an hour gone, Oshoala of Barcelona, who used to play for Liverpool and Arsenal earlier in her career, she's been unleashed on this round of 16, Tyja.
She has, and I mean, what a player to be able to bring off the bench, one of the world's best goal scorers, Champions League winner. She poses that real threat up top. She will be that focal point, and in terms of if you wanted to bring an impact sub on to go and win the game, I don't think there's a player better to bring on in a moment like this.
Well, there might be fear in the stands. I think there's a little bit of trepidation in the commentary box as well, and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk watching on in the stadium, our England reporter who'll bring all of the post-match interviews as well. You'll hopefully hear live from Serena Wiegman and maybe an England player or two after the game on Talksport 2. We've got our World Cup Daily podcast for you to download as well. There's a throw for England on the far side, taken by Bronze, the dead ball line. It's Hemp playing it back to Bronze, first touch to play it to Stanway. Stanway's delivery, and Daly was there at the back post, but she smuggled it wide. Amid a cluster of green shirts, lovely football from England, just hung up in the air, that effort from Daly, but wide it goes.
Yeah, it was a good ball in. She'd taken it first time, it was well worked. Kira Walsh with the delivery to the back post, and she's running in. She's got 3 players around her, takes it first time on her right foot. You can see what she's doing. She's trying to bend it into the top corner there, just comes off her shin in the end. Couldn't get the execution right, but it was always going to be difficult with those 3 players. Nigerian defender smothering her.
She's off the mark at the World Cup, as she showed us against China in Adelaide on match day 3 in the group stages. England who topped Group D and qualified in outstanding form for the World Cup as well. Forward by Millie Bright up the inside right channel. Good interception by Ashley Plumtree of Leicester City and Nigeria. Now Oshoala's first touch. Orange boots on, trying to burst up the middle. She's blocked off by Lucy Bronze, who has to retreat to get back into position. Here is Ayinde for Nigeria. High hanging ball cross field and towards the right, and Kanu, who's playing again to the right of the 3, sort of juggles it back to Alozie, who flicks it onto the chest of James, out of play. Nigeria throw an hour gone on Talksport 2, 0-0.
Yeah, just seeing early signs of Oshoala there. Her movement now for the back 3, they've got to make sure that at all times they know where she is, passing her on. Can't allow her to roam free or lose sight of her, because she is that danger player, the one that can change a game, and she only needs half a chance to score.
And I guess given the situation of the match, Jenna, and 29 minutes to go, and really it's from a layman's perspective, at least you wonder whether Serena Wiegman, she must be thinking about potential changes, surely.
Yeah, I think it's around about this time we normally see some changes. I don't think it will be too much longer. I think you've obviously got Chloe Kelly on the bench who can come in, just bring that energy, loves to drive at players, a different kind of threat. She
would be the obvious change, you feel like, for England. Beth England has had a couple of substitute appearances at the tournament as well. Not a great deal of major tournament experience for England, though.
I think if you're wanting a player to stay in the box and be that person, that would be Beth England.
Yeah.
You know, she can be that target player.
Throw for Nigeria, down by the corner flag. They're on the attack here. It's held infield by Alozie. Almost fell to the edge of the box. That's a great tackle coming in, I think, by Walsh to knock it clear up to the halfway line. And in the end, England have won a throw in front of their dugout. That throw in from Alozie was allowed to travel a long way, right to the edge of the D virtually there. And it was a very important interception, as is so often the case, from England's Kira Walsh. Lovely flick. Impudent flick by Daly down the England left, and James has played it into the path of Russo. Back out wide to James, left on edge of the area, just slowed them down a little there. James looked too nonchalant, couldn't knock the Nigeria defender. Nigeria clear, now Walsh back to the halfway line. England trying to open up Nigeria, but they can't really do so as yet.
No, better from England though, down their left-hand side, moving the ball a lot quicker. You could see what James was trying to do, just quickly shift the ball from her right to left foot to lose the defender.
There are Mexican waves in the crowd.
Oh no.
It doesn't really feel that level of relaxed. Not for us anyway. With over an hour gone. It's a tense atmosphere, I'm sure, for the England supporters out there. And we'll go back to Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, I think, shortly and get a flavour of the atmosphere into the evening in Brisbane. It's pretty much full, the stadium. Lots of England flags around as well. There's a throw for Lucy Bronze, just shy of the halfway line. It's bouncing up and down, and it's brought down cleverly in the end by Stanway. Now Greenwood playing it to the left wing back. Rachel Daly wearing number 9. Such a versatile player, Rachel Daly. We spoke about Alex Greenwood's versatility. Daly even more so. England win a free kick. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, let's go back to our England reporter in the stadium in Brisbane. How is the atmosphere, Courtney? It's tense in the commentary box. What's it like in the stands in the stadium?
Yeah, it's certainly tense for the England fans. I think the Nigeria fans are enjoying it. There's another Mexican wave going around. I will not be participating. But yeah, I think it's tense. It's a real important moment in the game. You're looking at the clock as well. You're probably expecting changes to come sooner rather than later. Chloe Kelly would be one. I heard you mention that, but I think Beth England as well. It needs more movement in that number 9 position for me. She can do a bit of everything. She can run in behind. She can link play. So Beth England would be the first name for my substitute. Thanks, Courtney. And knowing Courtney from our work on commentary together, not entirely unsurprised that she's not a Mexican wave partaker either. I'd probably be the same. As Demaheen sends it back to goalkeeper Ndozi. Ndozi slices the clearance high, left-footed. It'll drop in the middle of the Nigeria half. England have not tested Chimaka Ndozi at all really in the second half. And actually, aside from the looping header from Kanu that hit the bar for Nigeria, it's been very light on goal-scoring opportunities. I would say for certainly many objective observers, it's been a much more closely contested round of 16 tie than we expected. Here's Hemp on the edge of the box though for England. Can't force her way through the middle. It might come back towards Hemp, a deflected effort, and it's over the top and behind for an England corner.
Excellent defending again from the Nigerian team. Just bodies on the line, last it, throwing their bodies in, getting the blocks. Says there, it's just Russo's little touch. Slips the ball through to Hemp, who is aiming for that near post, but the Nigerian defender gets her body in the way again.
Is this the chance that England were hoping for? They've got a corner away to our left, playing from right to left in the second half. Locks in those white shirts and dark blue shirts forward. It's Georgia Stanway. 2 arms up into the air. It'll be a right-footed delivery that'll swing away from goal. Driven in by Stanway to the far post, onto the roof of the net in the end. I think she was trying to pick out Millie Bright, who peeled away to that far post, Jenna, but not a good enough corner.
Yeah, you see Millie Bright lost the defender. She's free at the back post. She comes crashing off the top of the net.
It might just take a set play or one moment to win the game, you feel, from here. Of course, if it doesn't end at 90 minutes, we will have extra time and maybe penalties if needed.
Let's not think about that.
Let's try not to. But
let's try and wrap it up in 90.
It is unfortunately, potentially becoming a little more of a possibility, but still a long way to go yet into the final quarter of the game on Talksport 2. Scoop forward by Daly up the middle for England. The header away by Ahale. It's dropped down into the centre circle towards Tony Payne. Payne, a diminutive player but very skillful. Drifted away from 3 for England there, and England just not really sharp enough on the uptake, and referees played a good advantage. It would have been a free kick to Nigeria, but they've kept possession anyway. Plumtra's touch is heavy, dispossessed by Lucy Bronze. Plumtra then gives it back to Walsh. Walsh up the middle to Russo, trying to flick it into her stride and flick it towards the right in the end, and the run of Hemp. But Demaheen is across for Nigeria, showing good composure.
Yeah, that ball from Walsh there is just what she does best. Just brings the ball down, her vision to see Russo on the run. The execution was a little bit too heavy for Russo to be able to control. That's better. I think when they move the ball through the middle to Kira Walsh, she moves it on quickly. She's got that vision to pick the pass. Just got to get that execution a little bit better.
England twice semi-finalists at the Women's World Cup, 5 times quarter-finalists at this tournament, aiming to reach a 6th quarter-final this evening in Brisbane. I have to say the game feels a bit on a knife edge at the moment though. Payne has tried to hammer the ball downfield for Nigeria. She's blocked up, I think it was Stanway with a challenge. It's ricocheted all the way to the goalkeeper, Ndozi. Once more, Nigeria, who it's worth saying have never won a major knockout game at a global tournament. They have had great success in the African Cup of Nations, but at the World Cup they've never won a knockout game. This, you feel, is maybe the way they've played up there with a chance for them to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you're looking at their team. Payne now on the ball. She's a real quality player. I think all the talks about Oshala, but she is a top-class player. Really drives this team forward. So skillful on the ball. Once the ball's at her feet, it's difficult to get it off her. Vision, distribution, excellent, and she seems she's growing into the game in the second half as well.
Still no sign of any changes for England. They're just over 20 minutes to go. Kanu plays the ball infield to Ayinde, who's peeled away from James and has picked up a pocket of space. Square pass to Uchebe. Now Ashley Plumtra out on the far side, the Nigeria left. Forward quickly to Ajibade, who's not particularly quick to take on possession, and then Plumtra trying to make the overlapping run. Ajibade does float in the cross, headed away in the end by Greenwood. Knocked down by James, back to Daly, forward to James again. James, always such a picture of composure, never seems flustered on the ball. That's a lovely spin and turn on from Russo, and then she actually tugged back Alozie there. Referee, who's been good, Melissa Borjas, plays the advantage, and Nigeria keep the ball 0-0.
Yeah, good defending again from Alozie. It's a great touch from Russo, the back heel to lose her, but the recovery again and the strength to just knock Russo off the ball, who's a very physical, strong player herself.
This is certainly getting to the point for England where it becomes very nervy indeed, potentially. 0-0, 20 to go. Serena Wiegman in conversation, sitting in the dugout. Opportunity for Plumtra down by the corner flag. Back it goes to Ajibade. Ajibade has picked a pass inside the penalty area. Chance for a spin and a turn and a shot from Payne. Couldn't quite get it away. Comes back to Ajibade, edge of the D. James controls again. Calmly back to Daly. Daly scoops it long. Chested down by Russo. Can England counter? No, they can't. England can't get any rhythm in the game at the moment.
It was on. It was the 3v3 there. Just couldn't execute the final pass. But just going back to that moment, how calm is Lauren James under pressure in her own penalty box?
Almost terrifyingly calm. Oshuala's won Nigeria corner. You have to say, Jenna, Nigeria look the more likely at the moment.
They do. They're putting the pressure on. It's relentless. When England do escape and they do start to counter, they just can't get the final execution of the pass.
It's hard to see England scoring in open play today, which is such a contrast to the final group game against China.
And I think you've got to give Nigeria credit. They've defended excellently throughout.
Tony Payne's corner. This could be an historic moment for Nigeria if they were to score here. They've got plenty forward and some good aerial ability in the side, the two centre halves, and Plumtra and Oshuala as well. Payne will take the corner, right-footed, out-swinging, away to our right as we look at it. It's lofted high, deep to the far post. The header is wide, but not by much. It was Kanu once again who got up, having hit the bar in this second half. Good connection on the header, but wide of goal, and England survive.
Yes, a free head from Kanu. Bronze got up, but too late. She's rose above everyone again, trying to direct it into the top corner, but just can't keep it on target. But again, another warning sign.
Well, Mary Earps has gone down now. And here come the two physios. England have not looked convincing on set pieces at times in the tournament. It's been a real mixture of performances so far at this Women's World Cup 2. You felt that England were building up ahead of steam after 3 wins from 3 in the group and then 6 goals past China, but the performance has regressed today. And as you say, Jenna Scalacci, in part that's down to Nigeria and the organisation of the coach, Randy Waldrum. Serena Wiegman, while Earps is being treated, has called the players over. What kind of messages can she send out at this point?
Yeah, I think probably Mary Earps has gone down. You know, the tactical rest to get the team in, get the pressure off, just to organise. Obviously, chatting there to Daly. I think we need to get bodies up. We need to be better on the counter attack because, as you say, I can't see us scoring. I think it's going to be something special or a mistake. But set piece, we need to wise up defensively because they're looking dangerous.
Let's hear from our England reporter, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, live in the stadium in Brisbane. Courtney, what would you think the message will be from Serena Wiegman? And are you surprised that we still haven't seen those substitutions that we talked about?
Yeah, I am really surprised, to be honest, because I think the longer this goes on and Nigeria stay in the game, I think that gives them that confidence and to think, right, all we need now is one moment to go and win this game. But I agree with Jenna there. I think that was more tactical than anything. As soon as Mary Earps went down, all the players were running over to the manager, and I'm just looking to my left now and I can see Bethany England and Chloe Kelly and others warming up, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see those changes quite imminently.
Thanks, Courtney. Well, there I was thinking that there might be a potential problem for Mary Earps and the two footballers with the same instincts. England slowing the game down, getting some tactical instructions on board, and maybe that could just help them find a little bit of rhythm. Forward by Bronze over the halfway line towards Hemp. Hemp's taken it well, but again, you have to give credit to the defender Ahale coming across, and Hemp, for all her pace, has been quite effectively neutralised. She has gone down here. England will play on as Hemp gingerly gets to her feet and limps away. That's good to see Hemp back on her feet. Now it's Greenwood charging up into Nigeria territory. Forward to Daly. Hemp's at the back post if England can put a cross in, but Alosi's got the better of Russo to clear.
So strong, yeah, so strong. I think when you're coming up against a player like Hemp who's got the pace, it's so important that you use your body. You know, you've got to use your strengths, and that's exactly what the back line of Nigeria are doing. They're using their body to delay the attack, to win the ball back, and they're coming out on top at the moment.
Very effectively defending England's threat are Nigeria. 2 goalless draws in the group stages. Here is Stanway, corner of the penalty area, crossing in though. That's taken a big deflection and it's gone behind for an England corner. It came off Demaheen. Is there a chance for England to build some pressure from a set play? 15 minutes to go. The round of 16 in the Women's World Cup on Talksport 2. It is still England 0, Nigeria 0. Could this be the moment? Been asking that throughout the whole game. England have made a couple of fast starts in a couple of their group stage matches, so there hasn't been too much anxiety there. It's Alex Greenwood to take this latest corner. Now what's the referee spotted in the centre of the 6-yard box? It's Hemp standing just in front of the goalkeeper. Melissa Borhaus has a quick word with goalkeeper Nadozi. And this corner will swing towards goal, left-footed. Lots of England fans packed behind the goal to our left. Swung in by Greenwood. There's Daly! Saved by the goalkeeper. Russo, far post, and claimed again. Brilliant stop by Nadozi to deny Rachel Daly what would have been a mammoth World Cup goal for the Lionesses.
Wow, what a header, but what a save again from Nadozi, keeping her team in this time. Daly makes a fantastic run, gets the perfect connection, and Nadozi gets down early to make the save. He's heading for the bottom corner. She's got bodies in front of her. Point blank reaction save there. Fantastic goalkeeping.
What reactions, as you say, from Nadozi, because it wasn't, as you say, Jenna, as though she had to really stretch, but from that kind of range, the power on the header, it's a brilliant bit of goalkeeping.
Yeah, it's great connection from Daly. She timed her run perfectly, headed it down, which is really difficult for the keeper. But again, fantastic goalkeeping, and then she reacts to get the save off of Russo, who connects to the second phase of the corner.
I have to say, the Nigeria boss, Randy Waldrum, the American, looks the calmest man in the stadium. not even flinching.
He's doing better than us.
He is. That's better from England. Will it give them a bit of momentum going into the closing stages of the 90 minutes anyway? With extra time potentially on the way. There's a free kick for England. It's right of centre, at 10 yards into Nigeria territory. Greenwood is standing over it again. Greenwood with the long blonde hair. And Stanway's lurking as well. Stanway it is to float it in high, right-footed, climbing is Russo, and not enough behind the header. A glancing blow gathered by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, no real power or execution, conviction behind that header from Russo. The ball in. She's always leaning back again there, Russo back to goal and trying to just direct it in, but no power to cause Nduzi any problems.
Quite a long way out too, just left of the penalty spot. So Nigeria hold on to possession, and they hold on to the prospects of taking England to extra time, or maybe even threatening themselves to win it in normal time. Stanway, this is the jeopardy, of course, of tournament football. Once you reach the knockout stages, you simply can't afford any sort of slip-up. Forward by Greenwood for England, and then an awkward back pass by Stanway. Mary Earps, you always expect Mary Earps to be calm, and she just controlled it on her chest and brought it under control.
I think the pass from Greenwood kind of stitched Stanway up a bit there. There was no weight on it, and she's just tried to get connection, but...
Given away that by Hemp. It's come back to Nigeria. Oshuala lays it wide. Kanu brings it down. Dead ball line. Right out into the box. Left-footed cross. Ajibade cushions the header into the path of Oshuala, and it's a screamer over the top. Off balance. Sliced. Never looked likely in the end to hit the target.
No, I think Stanway there did excellently. Just put enough pressure on Oshuala just to put her off of her strike. But yeah, a few loose passes now coming in from the Lionesses. Got to tidy up when they're in possession. They can't gift anything to this Nigerian team.
Might have the best part of 2 more weeks of this to come. We hope England can go all the way, but it really feels in genuine jeopardy this last 16 tie.
I think just when you think England are getting on top, they then put a few loose passes together, and there seems to be a sense of panic again.
Ball is played back by Nigeria into their own territory. Lauren Hemp is chasing that back pass, but Ahale is there, the centre half, with again expert composure. The whole of the Nigeria back four have been excellent. In fact, the whole Nigeria side really.
Including the keeper.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
11 minutes to go. Ajibade with the cross, cut out by Carter at the near post. Is there one last chance coming in this 90 minutes for either team? You do feel there might be one opportunity. Which way it's going to come, though, is another question altogether. England have had a better spell in the last 5 minutes or so. They've had their best chance, really, or certainly the closest that they've come. Brilliant save by Ndozi to deny Daly, who's on the ball now in the left wing back position. It's a strange one for Serena Wiegman, because you see the threat of Daly. Has England given away? Walsh was caught there. Opportunity for Payne. Payne right-handed to the box. Only Oshuala in the middle. Payne crosses all the way to the far post. It's blocked off by Carter. The late run was from Uchebe, trying to steam onto that. Now England concede a free kick. England look really nervous. Free kick Nigeria, midway inside the Lionesses half. 0-0, could have been worse again.
Could have been worse. It came from a really uncharacteristic loose pass from Stanway. But Carter, what a header. Vital clearance. There's the loose pass again from Stanway. We've seen it a few times now in the last 5 minutes. Great play out wide, good cross in, and I think it was Bright actually just used her body to put the striker off the header, and then Carter was there to clear.
And a lively Kanu, interestingly, is going to leave the field now for Nigeria. Maybe there's a bit of fatigue there, possibly, but I think Kanu's been excellent, and a standing ovation from some of the Nigeria fans. And Francisca Ordega is going to take to the field, and the Nigeria fans, some of them are banging on a drum, and lots of them wearing the replica shirts. So Kanu goes off, and it's a chance for Ordega, who is a tall, threatening player, to add to that Nigeria height in this set-piece situation.
Kanu's been fantastic. Had a few opportunities herself. Aerially excellent.
Floated free kick into the penalty area by Payne towards the penalty spot. Looping header wide of goal. Climbing was Oshuala. Last touch was off the Nigeria number 8. Goal kick to England away to the right. There were lots of green shirts forward there, and suddenly it all became very congested. And still, We wait for a potential England substitution, and still it isn't forthcoming.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to seeing the subs made on the 60-minute mark. Now, my only thought is she doesn't want to disrupt the team, but I think they need a change now. You know, they're coming under a lot of pressure. 10 minutes to go. Is she thinking of extra time?
Well, it's always hard, isn't it, to question Serena Wiegmann, because really there are so few questionable decisions, if any, that she's made during her time as England boss. But as Bright has to clear, that was a good safety first header to not go back to the goalkeeper and nudge it towards the right with Oshuala in close attention. England have laboured throughout. Forward by James up the middle. James hasn't really been her usual self, at least not at this tournament in terms of the form she's shown today. Ordega, first touch for her, laying it wide to Ajibade for Nigeria, scoops the ball into the penalty area. Oshuala's there, nodded clear by England's Rachel Daly. Uchebe has picked up the ball, and now Nigeria having one of their good spells again in the game, with just 7.5 minutes plus stoppage time left. Real jeopardy on this for England. Ajibade's delivery, up goes Oshuala. It'll be brought down by Daly, and she hurriedly scoops the half-volleyed clearance downfield, and England have no outlet in terms of holding the ball up front.
Yeah, they just can't make it stick when they are making the clearances. Nigeria are gaining possession again far too quickly, and then the next attack comes. They just got to take care of the ball once they have it.
There are England changes incoming. Ella Toone is ready to come on, the number 10. Chloe Kelly, the Euros final hero as well. It'll be a double substitution at least for England. Kira Walsh plays it back to the goalkeeper. There was a moment of nervousness there for England because Walsh was under pressure and seemingly hesitated for a second. Russo's held it up on the halfway line. We are 6.5 minutes away from extra time in Brisbane.
Yeah, again, just a little bit of confusion in the defence. Defenders too close to each other, no communication.
A disjointed display from England, like we've seen from the likes of the US, like Germany. Canada went out in the group stages. The two previous nations I mentioned are both out. Here is James, left wing position, and she tried to cut in field. Alozie was having none of it. What a great job Michelle Alozie has done in nullifying Lauren James for the most part. James is going to get a booking here, I think, was there a bit of afters between the two?
I think there was, but Alozie fantastic again. We spoke earlier, defenders finding it really difficult to stop Lauren James once she has the ball at her feet. But Alozie is doing a masterclass in this second half. Been fantastic.
One of the ability to create, or opportunity to create, that we've seen from Lauren James in the tournament. Just left her foot in on Alozie there, and that was naughty from Lauren James, and she's been booked. Got to be careful with that sort of thing.
Yeah, especially with the amount of eyes on the game now. She's very lucky. Hopefully she learns from that. Can't afford to have any silliness, losing any players now going into the last 7 minutes.
All eyes just on the referee momentarily here. Just wondering whether she's in communication with the VAR. She's made the signal. Well, Lauren James deliberately pushed her foot down onto the lower back of Alozie. It was a deliberate push of the foot. And I wonder whether VAR here, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, is thinking, was this a stamp? Was this violent conduct? Could she be sent off?
Yeah, I think so. Straight away in real time, I thought the same. You can't do that. And as soon as almost I was perplexed by the yellow card, because if you're going to give it a booking, it's a red card. You can tell, unfortunately, it's deliberate, it's frustration, it's a moment of madness, and for me it's nothing else than a red card, and I hate to say it, but yeah, I can't see that decision. I think it's going to be overturned.
You said it, and I think the same. I think this is going to be a red card here for Lauren James, Jenna.
I can't see anything other than a red card now when you're watching that back and seeing the pictures that the referee has just seen.
Here's Melissa Borjas, the referee.
After the on-field review, the yellow card for number 7 white is cancelled. Instead, red card for violent conduct.
Lauren James is sent off. England are down to 10 players with 4 minutes to go. 0-0 in the round of 16. And after all her brilliance early on in the tournament, that was a moment of madness. It was a silly thing to do. It was petulant. and it's put England in all sorts of trouble here in Brisbane.
Yeah, a moment of madness. You feel for the young player showing her inexperience there on the world's biggest stage. Reminiscent of that Beckham red card, isn't it? Just really silly. There was no need for it. But yeah, you can only say it was a moment of absolute madness for the young player who's had, been by far our best player of the tournament. It's just really sad to see that inexperience showing there.
It was a stamp on the lower back of Alozi, and the referee had no option, having consulted with VAR. And such a sad situation for Lauren James. It's been so impressive, but England are really on the ropes, and James, having been integral in the qualification for the knockout stages, has now been sent off, and England are down to 10 for the remainder of this match. And of course Lauren James potentially here could struggle to really have much of an impact for England should they make it through for the entire rest of the tournament, potentially, depending on how long a FIFA decide is appropriate for a ban. Russo is coming off for England here. A violent conduct as Kelly comes on for England. It is often a 3-game ban. That could well mean she misses the rest of the tournament if England were to get that far.
Yeah, if that's the case, it's going to be so disappointing, and probably the biggest lesson that Lauren James will ever learn in her life. You want to see a player like Lauren James performing on the biggest stage. If England get past this test, you want to see those players on the pitch. But it was a moment of madness when her team needed her most in a difficult time. Now they've got an even bigger challenge on their hands,
and she will learn from it, and she is a young player. But England have got to forget about that for now. Down to 10, 90 seconds of normal time remaining in the round of 16. First touch for Chloe Kelly, sets up Lauren Hemp down the right. Rachel Daly's in the middle, Hemp crosses, and Alozi let it run across the face of goal, but that was the right decision. It goes behind for a goal kick. The Lionesses need the spirit now of the Euros last summer, the spirit they've galvanised under Sarina Wiegman. Can they, arguably against the odds perhaps from this point, edge themselves through?
It was a great ball in there from the right-hand side. Great defending. Cool, calm below, knew exactly where she was, just let the ball run. No panic there. From my experience of playing, when you lose a player, I've always played better when you're a man down, when the odds are stacked against you. This is when the team needs to come together now and fight for absolutely everything.
That's it. England have seen adversity in this tournament, of course, with what happened to Kira Walsh, who's been back in the side today. Lauren James sent off for a stamp on her opponent Alozi. After a VAR check, it was the right decision, and it is a desperate moment for the England player. And now, how will they react? We are heading for extra time. Long ball by Greenwood, takes a bounce, gathered by the goalkeeper Ndozi. Does it mean a slightly different approach for Nigeria, you wonder, now that they have the player advantage?
Yeah, exactly. They've got to find that extra player, use it.
Could that ironically make it slightly more difficult for Nigeria if they now feel they have to go and really take the game for England? Although that said, at times it has felt like they've done that against this England side. We're into 6 added minutes at the end of the 90 here in the round of 16.
Nigeria have by far been the better team throughout the 90 minutes, had the better chances. But we saw yesterday, USA were the better team in the 90 minutes.
Well, it was completely unnecessary from Lauren James. And as you said, you called it at the time, Jenna, reminiscent of David Beckham at the World Cup in 1998 against Argentina. There's a free kick, I think, here that has gone the way of England, with a minute of the 6 added having been played. England have gone to, I think it's almost like a 4 at the back, 4 in midfield, and Kelly down the middle. Long throw by Bronze up towards Chloe Kelly. Nigeria win the ball back. It's then retrieved by Daly shy of halfway. Daly flicks the ball up over the halfway line out of play for a throw. What does Sarina Wiegman do to try and reorganise now? I wonder whether her potential changes. We had Ella Toon on the touchline, but she's not come on. Maybe the thinking's changed there as well.
I think absolutely. This shows how quick a game of football can change and the details in it. The subs are ready to come on in the split second. You're now losing probably your secret weapon on the pitch. I think they need to go to that back four, add an extra number in, given they're a player down, and they're going to have to feed off scraps now. So it looks like Russo's up. Not Russo, sorry.
Kelly's up the middle.
Sorry, Kelly's up top. She's going to have to hold the ball, do a lot of legwork for her team, put in the shift. It could be a frustrating end of the match for her, extra time, but she's got to put in the shift, and then we need to move the bodies up around her and support her when we are in their final third.
Kelly for Russo, England's only change up to this point. But it's still 0-0, even though England are down to 10. 4 minutes of added time remaining at the end of normal time, and extra time is on the horizon. Can England win it very late on? It's Lauren Hemp, right wing position, playing the ball square towards Stanway. Not a good ball, intercepted and cleared away by Ucheibe. Nigeria have worked so hard. I wonder whether there's one or two slightly tired legs in this Nigeria team at the moment, possibly. That could help England, because of course their opponents have a player advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've put in an absolute shift, haven't they? The work rate off the ball has been phenomenal from this Nigerian team. I think their recoveries has been excellent. But you know, during the training camp, they would have prepared for moments like this. They're prepared for going down a player. You practice these 11v10 formations, passages of play for moments like this. So they are prepared if you ever are to come into the situation where you do lose a player.
We're in Talksport 2. England down to 10. 0-0 with Nigeria, the round of 16 at the Women's World Cup. Lauren James sent off, if you're just joining us, after a VAR review for a stamp on the Nigerian defender Alozie. It could become an infamous moment in England's World Cup history, but the scoreline is still not against them. Here is Lucy Bronze, midway inside the Nigeria half, forward to Hemp. England with a renewed focus here, perhaps. Bronze down the right, forward now to Stanway, touches it on towards Hemp again. Hemp has got pace, but not enough to beat Demaheen to the ball. Demaheen using her body superbly well there to shield it away from Hemp and clip it forward. That's just excellent defending from Demaheen.
Excellent again, time and time again, that battle down there. Lauren Hemp has got the pace of her, but she's putting her body in the way. She's stopping, she's been so clever. Even just a little shoulder bar just to take Lauren Hemp off of her pace, slow her down, and then winning the ball back.
Lauren Hemp has showed how to, Demaheen has showed how to defend against Lauren Hemp. 2 minutes of added time to go. Nigeria go long up the middle. Millie Bright gets in front of Oshuala, just hammers it into touch. Safety first, into the lower tier of the three here at the Brisbane Stadium.
I think since James has gone off, England have been a bit better in possession, taking care of the ball a lot better.
I suppose they have to, don't they? It's still a baffling moment, an infamous moment in the tournament, it feels like. That sending off. And
I think
Lauren James looked absolutely shell-shocked actually afterwards.
You can only explain it as a moment of madness. I mean, she's been phenomenal, and on a human level, she's a young player learning her trade. She's been shining, but do you know, I was always told in football, you never take the high. Don't get too high with the highs, because there's always a knockback coming, and she'll learn from this, and it'll be a really painful lesson for her to learn.
Never get too high, never get too low. Only 21, Lauren James. She has lit up the tournament, but England will have to do without her, certainly for the rest of today, and of course for longer in the tournament as well, if England can get themselves through. There's a throw that Carter will take for England in front of the dugouts. 0-0 the score. We've got 30 seconds of 6 added at the end of the 90 to be played. Extra time rapidly looming. Nigeria play it forward with Ucheibe, up to Oshuala. Oshuala is midway inside her own half of the field. She tried to flick it through the middle towards Ordega, but blocked off by Kira Walsh. England, I'm sure, very thankful that they've got their midfield linchpin on the field in a situation like this, and Walsh looks like she can keep going. England have had adversity before, and they will have to face more adversity in the round of 16 here, with extra time and possibly penalties still to come in Brisbane. Live on Talksport 2. It has been a game of relatively few clear-cut chances. Both goalkeepers have impressed. The Nigerians have hit the woodwork twice, but the big moment in the game, one of the biggest flashpoints of the 2023 Women's World Cup, Lauren James sent off late in the second half for a stamp on Michelle Alozie after a VAR review. England 0, Nigeria 0. Extra time coming up, and England will have to reach the quarter-finals of this Women's World Cup, down to 10 players.
This was not in the script, was it, Jenna Scalacci? England down to 10 into extra time against a Nigeria side ranked more than 35 places below them, but they've been so impressive. The biggest talking point, though, an absolute moment of madness from Lauren James. Take away age, take away inexperience, whatever else. There were throws of David Beckham on Diego Simeone at the 1998 World Cup for England. 4 minutes from time, she goes and does what can only be described as a stupid, reckless and ridiculous thing to do. Reckless and ridiculous merged into one is how I felt at the time, actually, shouting. And it could be so costly.
Yeah, really, really stupid from Lauren James. And you know, there was just no need for it. It's frustration. But in a game like this where, you know, England are under a lot of pressure as it is, then to go and do something so stupid. Now her team are down to 10 players into extra time. There's going to be a lot of tired legs out there, let alone just with 10 players as well. It was everything that you've said it was, and moment of madness, silliness, and she'll learn from it. But now her teammates have got to get together. They've got to dig deep to get this result.
Courtney, she will learn from it, but it's too late. You can't learn from it on a last 16 knockout match at a World Cup.
No, you can't, but you know, I see the side of it in terms of the football, and I get it, but I'm also thinking about the human side of it, and I'm worried, the world that we live in.
I get that 100%. 100%, but I tell you what, we wouldn't be doing our jobs properly if we judged Lauren James differently to how we would judge an England senior men's player for doing exactly the same thing.
No, 100%, and as I say, as a footballer and the pitch side, I get it, but it's whether it be, you know, an England men's player or an England women's player, I'm talking about some of the stuff that, you know, players have to face off the pitch. And I'm very, I must admit, I'm very worried about that equally on the pitch. As you say, it's a moment of madness. It's stupid, it's frustration, it's boiling over. And, you know, as you grow through your career, you learn to deal with the frustration and get, you know, ways to combat it. But, you know, this point, she can, you know, cost England in terms of coming out of this competition. But equally, there's a long way to go at the moment. The teams are in the huddles now. And as Jenna said in commentary as well, you know, this is something that this team will prepare for. They would have done it in training, and you know, having 10 players. So look, it's by no means a foregone conclusion. Does it make it a lot harder? Of course it does. But you know, they're still in the game, and that's the most important thing at the moment.
Yeah, they've given themselves an extra 30 minutes to try and break this Nigeria side down, but they've not looked like the better team here at all. Could and should Sarina Wiegman have made her substitutions earlier?
Yeah, I think so, and hindsight's always an absolutely wonderful thing, isn't it? And I don't know whether she was maybe thinking about extra time with penalties in mind, because obviously in the knockout rounds that's something that you've got to think about. You know, if it was me, I would have made those changes earlier. I think I would have wanted to see Beth England as well, but you know, there's probably a reason why I'm sat where I am and Sarina Wiegman sat where she is. Yeah,
I mean, this is where she earns her money, isn't it? That's for sure, and we've seen her do that on many occasions before. The captains have done the toss. I was trying to think of the word to describe doing the toss. It's just doing the toss, isn't it? Jo Shannon and Jenna Scalacci are going to bring you second extra time at the Brisbane Suncorp Stadium. Huge 30 minutes for Sarina Wiegman and her team to try and make the quarterfinals of this Women's World Cup. Jo Shannon and Jenna Scalacci.
Thank you, Faye. Well, a red card for violent conduct, of course, generally tends to result in a 3-match suspension, as we said in commentary. So even if England are to get through, Lauren James's World Cup is most probably over. And what a sad situation for that to be the case, having been so impressive earlier on in the tournaments. And I think what Courtney Sweetman-Kirk said is very important in the climate that we live in, to be mindful of people as human beings, while also looking at the incident in isolation in a footballing context, and really acknowledging that it was a needless challenge, it was a petulant challenge, and it was one that I'm sure she will regret deeply. Extra time is underway. Nigeria from right to left, 0-0 the score in the round of 16. The quarter-finals will see Colombia or Jamaica wait for one of these two teams. England playing from left to right at the start of extra time. White shirts, blue shorts, white socks. Nigeria make a change to start extra time. Ayinde off, and Jennifer Echegini, who was born in London and used to play for Arsenal, an FA Youth Cup winner in 2019. The 22-year-old is onto the field. It's as you were for England. I'll remind you of the two teams in just a moment. England have gone to a flat back four in front of them with Kelly down the middle, and they've lost possession here. Nigeria on the attack straight away early in extra time. Good dribbling down the near side, the left by Alozie, who was involved in that incident with James that led to the England players' dismissal. Tracking back is Lauren Hemp, and Lauren Hemp will hack it away towards the midway point of her own half. And of course it's not just tired minds that come into play, tired legs as well. And England, of course, it's still on for them potentially, Jenna, but with one player less, it makes it just that much difficult against a very determined Nigeria team.
Yeah, a huge mountain to climb now ahead of them in this next 30 minutes. Already we're seeing the pressure being put on by Nigeria. When England are clearing, they can't make the ball stick again. So it's going to be relentless.
Here come Nigeria on the far side, the right, an opportunity for the cross from Oshoala. It's come back to the far side, and Ajibade, who delivers this time, hammered away by England's Rachel Daly to the halfway line. So England, it's Erbs in goal, Bronze, Carter, Bright and Greenwood now, with Hemp, Walsh, Stanway and Daly behind Chloe Kelly up front. Nigeria with their full complement of 11. Nadozie the goalkeeper, Alozie, Demaheen, Ahale and Plumcher. A long ball up the middle for Nigeria, put forward in the penalty area, and that was a risky challenge by Millie Bright, and there are loud appeals from the Nigeria supporters for a penalty. No motion of the arm from the referee, no sense that she was going to give it. Bronze has held on to the ball. The Nigeria player is still down in the penalty box. She's wagging her finger at the moment, the referee, and it's Alozie who's gone down. The player who's been at the centre of many of the incidents in this match. He was the centre of the incident that led to Lauren James being sent off, and that was a challenge with Bronze. Oh, it was a risky challenge from Lucy Bronze. No sign of a VAR check just yet. What did you make of it, having seen it on our monitor, Jenna Scilacci?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely contact there, isn't there? Bronze has come through the player, arm up, using her elbow, pushed Alozie over onto the floor in the penalty box. Really reckless challenge, silly challenge, clumsy challenge in your own penalty box from an experienced player in Lucy Bronze.
And the referees made the decision. There was no VAR check, no penalty given. Bronze scoops the ball over the halfway line down the inside right channel for the run of Kelly. The 10 players of England 0-0 against Nigeria, 3 minutes into extra time here. Bronze has won the ball back in front of the Nigeria dugout, but then she sticks out a leg and sends Echegini sprawling. Nigeria free kick. Our England reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk watching on in the stadium. Courtney, did England get away with one there?
Massively, Joe. I can't fathom really how that's not been given as a penalty. Obviously I'm grateful from a Lionesses perspective, but for me, you know, the forwards looking at the ball's coming, she's between that and Lucy Bronze, and Lucy just comes through the back of her, completely wipes her off her feet, takes the momentum, arm up. I must admit I'm quite baffled by that decision.
Yeah, Jenna, I am similarly surprised that there wasn't a VAR check there.
I mean, it's definitely more of a pen than the Daily one in the first half, that's for sure. There was a lot of power behind Bronze there. She's gone through her, taken her out.
0-0 it remains. England have not had much possession at all in the 4 minutes of extra time that we've had. Lucy Bronze heads away from the right back position. Here is Lauren Hemp. England can't keep the ball. That's a major problem for them at the moment. Kelly is extremely isolated. 2 flat backs of 4 behind her. Wondering what the intent from England is here. Lucy Bronze has won it back in the right back spot. She's now drifting forward. She's playing it square into the feet of Georgia Stanway, and Walsh has threaded it left to Daly. Daly in the left wing position, only Kelly in the middle. England are having to work twice as hard with just 10 players after James was sent off. Tackle coming in on the far side, the right, by a stretching Ortega. Daly's just holding her lower left leg, and England will get themselves a throw.
Again, Ortega, so physical in the challenge, does so well, not giving it up, just hunting the ball down. It's difficult for England. That's the first real passage of play they've had. They've spread the ball, they switched it out to Daly, but then she's isolated, so isolated, and the recovery runs from the Nigerians has been fantastic. It's just nowhere for Daly to play.
The rest of that Nigeria 11, Uchebi and Echegini in the middle, Oshoala, Payne, Ajibade and Ortega in a sort of varying, quite fluid front line for them. Opportunity though for England to put a cross in on the left. It's Jess Carter who's found herself in an advanced position, and a throw to England about 5 or 6 yards from the corner flag. We've talked about hearts and minds. Jenna, is it a case of who wants it more at this stage? Is it actually a little bit more strategic than that?
I think in terms of England, I think they've got to be brave now. They've got to be brave. They've got to commit. They've got to go for it. But then at the same time, be aware that they've got the 10 players, but you don't want to sit back and allow this Nigerian for the next 30 minutes to umble the pressure, because they do have those threats. So they've got to be brave when they've got it, and they've got to be clever.
Long throw by Carter's been headed away. England 0, Nigeria 0. Here is Minnie Bright on the halfway line, the England captain. Leadership qualities resonate throughout this England team. They're going to need that in the round of 16. They're going to need that if they can make it through for the rest of the tournament. Pumped forward by Lucy Bronze, crossfield. It almost feels now like the odds are against England. They were such heavy favourites coming into this match, and Nigeria made it very even. At this point, it's hard to see England carving out a chance in open play, and they're struggling to retain possession in the final third.
I think, given that they've gone down to 10 and how well Nigeria have defended, as you say, you can't see them carving out any clear-cut chances. They haven't had many when they had the 11 players, let alone, I think they're going to have to dig so deep here.
More England drama coming up, we hope, throughout the tournament. If there is to be more England action at the Women's World Cup, you'll hear it on the Talksport network. Ball ballooned forward by Nigeria up towards Oshoala, falls to the edge of the box. Here is Alozie in the penalty area. She's missed it on her weaker left foot. The angle was tight, but she really should have hit the target. She probably should have scored. Massive chance burned for Nigeria.
Yeah, the ball is a good delivery in. Great vision there, and then she's just chose to take it first time. The angle was tight, just didn't get the connection. And thankfully for England, that's a real let-off there. Just couldn't get the connection there on her weaker foot.
Alozie with the multicoloured boots, one black boot, one white boot. The Nigeria fans are on their feet ready to celebrate a goal, but the net didn't bulge. It was sliced well wide, and England and the Lionesses fans can breathe again.
Yeah, you saw Mary Earps there that she had got over. You'd like to think if the connection was well connected, she would have had that near post covered.
Mary Earps has not actually had that many saves to make in the game. England goalkeeper away to our left. Nigeria hit the bar twice in normal time, and it was late in normal time, with 3 minutes to go to be exact, that England were sent down to 10 players after the dismissal of Lauren James for a stamp. It was reminiscent of the incident involving David Beckham at the World Cup in 1998, France 98 against Argentina. I think it was Diego Simeone who David Beckham stamped on that night and was sent off, and another England number 7 has been involved in a similar incident this evening, and it's a sad moment and a desperate moment on a human level too for Lauren James, and I'm sure she will recover from it and learn from it, but the World Cup looks like being over. Here is Chloe Kelly. The Lioness is desperate to avoid going home at this stage. The ball is with Nigeria. It's sent towards the right-hand side, and rushing to meet it is the enterprising run of Ochebe, and now Oshoala reaches the edge of the box. She's in a tangle of legs with Greenwood. Greenwood had to be careful, managed to smuggle it away, at least temporarily. Oshoala hangs up a cross, cleared away, only as far as the edge of the penalty area. Then it was a very heavy touch off the chest of Ordega. Smuggled clear by Carter. England are looking fatigued as well, you have to say, at this point. They're down to 10, 9.5 minutes into extra time, and struggling to make an impact. Nigeria continuing to have more of the ball. Alozie's reverse cross now. That's deep towards the penalty spot. Greenwood gets up to clear again. Daly just cushions it down towards Carter. You have to wonder whether Serena Bigman is going to think about more changes here.
I think as well, mentally now they're looking tired. Or maybe a bit late there on Carter. Initially I thought she'd done excellently to recover around and force the challenge there, but just there in the back line, 2 players, Carter and Bright, I think it was Greenwood, no communication to clear the ball. I think mentally now England are starting to look tired as well.
Is the belief there, Jenna, do you think?
I think they have to have the belief. Listen, look at the players on the pitch now. There's still real quality there. it's an uphill task for them. They've got to dig deep. I think at this moment now, do you just play and try and get to pens? Because as you say, up top, we don't look like we're going to score in open play at all.
England's major tournament penalty record, I have to tell you, is not a good one. Beaten by Sweden at the Euros in '84, beaten by France at the World Cup at the quarter-final stage in 2011. That England's only World Cup shootout, though they did beat Brazil on penalties in the Finalissima earlier this year. Nigeria, meanwhile, have never been involved in a penalty shootout at the World Cup. They lost their last major tournament shootout. Sometimes that means nothing, especially when it's so long ago, and that was the case in the two shootouts I mentioned at major tournaments for England, apart from the Finalissima. Anyway, we're into the first half of extra time. That's a bicycle kick from Oshoala, thumped away by Bronze on the volley. It was a high boot from Oshoala, and a free kick to England inside the penalty area. We played 101 minutes of football. Georgia Stanway was caught, I think, by Oshoala there.
Yeah, Oshoala, nothing malicious in that. Her eyes are on the ball, trying to execute that bicycle kick. Brave from Georgia Stanway, they're getting ahead there.
Nigeria have not really made the most of Oshoala's presence yet. They have had a lot of possession, but not created a great deal. In fact, they're really creatively, they were probably at their best in the first half in terms of opportunities that they carved out.
Yeah, and I think Alozie, from a defensive position, has probably been their most dangerous player up top. Got in the best position, just hasn't been able to get the final shot off or execute properly.
12 minutes into extra time. Oshoala hugging the far side touchline. She's beyond Alex Greenwood. Oshoala crosses. That's hit the bar. But it might have gone out of play on its way through. It did. Actually kissed the very top of the woodwork, but it had already gone out of play. Kind of spun out of play off the right-footed cross of Oshoala. England 0, Nigeria 0. The 10 players of England against the less fancied Nigerian team. 12 and a half minutes into extra time on Talksport 2. Live at the round of 16 stage at the World Cup in Brisbane.
Yeah, Oshoala just come alive there on a right-hand side, getting the delivery in. Past Hemp. And then again, Alozie, the run, the determination to get into the box. She was the highest player up. She was basically on Mary Earps from a defensive, showing the hunger, the desire to get into the box, to be an option. She's done that for the whole 90 minutes. The energy is unreal.
Still Randy Waldrum, the Texan manager of Nigeria, sits in the dugout relatively impassively. A couple of connections to a couple of players in the WSL, including England's Rachel Daly. They worked together at Houston Dash in the United States. Chloe Kelly's had a forlorn task so far, very much a lone striker, not been able to really get on the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough game to come into, especially when you're put up on that in the striker position on your own. She knows what she's got to do for the team now, and it's not about any individual players. It's about doing what you've got to do for the team to get through this game.
England would just love a half chance here, some sort of opportunity before the end of extra time. We've got a minute of the first half of extra time to go.
I think if there was a player that could create something out of nothing, it would have been the one player that's now unfortunately not on the pitch in Lauren James.
Sent off late in the second half of normal time. Striding forward is Kira Walsh for England, up towards Chloe Kelly. Can she bring it under control? She can't. Well marshalled by Ahale. The ball is back in the middle of midfield with Echegini of Nigeria, tall and slender. Back it goes to goalkeeper Nnadozie. You can almost count on one hand the number of touches that Nnadozie's had in extra time so far. It's packed at the stadium here in Brisbane, over 50,000 in the crowd. Thumped forward by Ahale from right to left, header away by Bronze from 10 yards outside her own penalty area. Then the clearance, a big swing at the boot there from Georgia Stanway. England are tiring a little bit here. Serena Wiegman has got maybe a couple of potential options in the context of this game to bring on. Of course, lots of numerical options on the bench, but you can sort of see why she doesn't want to necessarily disrupt the rhythm too much. A minute of added time at the end of the first half of extra time, and I guess at this stage, Jenna Schillaci, former Tottenham captain, you are also as a head coach thinking about penalties?
I think you've got to, just given the way this first half has played out. up top we can't really offer anything. The players are looking tired. I think mentally they seem a bit tired. I think maybe now in the second half it's about just staying resolute, tight, compact, and try and get to the penalties.
England have never lost a competitive game under Sarina Wiegman. Carter plays the ball to the left and Daly checks her run. Really had to there, Daly, because only Kelly was up in the Nigeria half. It's back to Alex Greenwood. Now Greenwood with the raking ball over the top. You can see the idea looking for the pace of Kelly, but too much on the ball. It's going to go through to the goalkeeper. We've nearly had the minute of added time at the end of the first half of extra time here.
Yeah, those balls over the top, and Doozy, her position and starting position's excellent. She's always going to get to that ball, and the space just isn't there for those balls over the top.
That is half-time and extra time. Very uneventful in terms of goal-scoring chances. Nigeria continue to possess the ball with regularity, but they can't carve out too much. England down to 10 players, still resolute, still got the heart, still got the spirit. Can they find a goal? If they don't, and if Nigeria fail to find the net in the next 15 minutes, we will have penalty kicks to decide who reaches the quarter-finals of the Women's World Cup. Half-time and extra time, England 0, Nigeria 0.
Our England reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk is in the stadium in Brisbane. Who on the bench can turn things around for England here, Courtney?
I think it's Beth England, and I'm just looking down now actually, and I think she's took her vest off, so it probably does look like that she's coming on imminently. Yeah, she's definitely coming on. She's got an eye for goal in terms of her fitness as well, when you've got to think you're down to 10 players and it's an important thing. So she's not a forward that will just try and find position. She does a lot of work off the ball as well. So yeah, I think that's a good substitution by Sarina Wiegman. She's coming I think she's coming on for Lauren Hemp.
Okay, that would be interesting. The Nigeria players having massages down on the pitch. England is getting ready to come on, as Courtney says. Big change, and it is Lauren Hemp going off. 15 minutes to turn this around before it's penalties. Big second half of extra time for the Lionesses as their World Cup place hangs in the balance in Brisbane. Back to Jenna Scalacci and Joe Shannon.
Crunch time for England. The second half of extra time against Nigeria here at the Women's World Cup. Extra time which proved a situation of such great joy for England in the Euros final at Wembley Stadium almost exactly a year ago. Beth England didn't play a part at all in the tournament that summer, even though she was part of the squad. She now comes on for a third consecutive match as a substitute here, and we are 15 minutes away from penalties unless something changes. England on for Hemp. England, the team, 0-0 with Nigeria, and the second half of extra time is underway. England from right to left, white shirts, blue shorts, white socks. Nigeria from left to right, all in green. Slice clearance by the goalkeeper, Ndozi. Beth England will give England some fresh legs, some pace up the middle. And here is Demaheen for Nigeria, the left-sided centre-half. She clatters the ball forward. That's an aimless pass. Lucy Bronze controls. You just wonder to some extent whether Nigeria is starting to run out of ideas as well, and whether their minds are also turning to penalty kicks. As a coach, Jenna, will Sarina Wiegman have a potential list in mind, or if we do get to penalties, does she just ask who fancies it?
I think they would have prepared for this moment. As we said earlier, I think they know exactly who the penalty takers are. I think once the 5 pens are taken, I think that's when, even when they get to that stage, they'll have that planned.
And as you say, we haven't got to that stage yet, because here's Ajibade down by the corner flag for Nigeria, but Greenwood has done well to come across and shepherd the ball out of play. England down to 10 players since the 87th minute of the match. We are now into the second half of extra time. Lauren James sent off for England after a stamp on Michelle Alozie of Nigeria. VAR, they reviewed it. The referee went to the pitch side monitor, made the correct decision. England are very much not so much under the cosh from the pressure of Nigeria, but it's proven so difficult for England to create anyway in the game, and even more so since the sending off.
Yeah, of course. It was a struggle for them to create any clear-cut opportunities, because Nigeria were defending so well. They're so clever in the way they defend. You can see they've studied our main threats and the pace up top that we have in Hemp, and they're just clever. They just use their body, their experience, and make it look easy defending against really players with real quality in Hemp. I think having Beth England on now, I'd like to see this change early on. But you know, fresh legs, 15 minutes now to be the hero. Put in the effort, she can hold the ball, she can bring players in, link up the play, and seen her in the WSL for Tottenham create goals out of nothing. So
12 goals in 12.
Exactly.
Since joining Tottenham in January. Here come Nigeria though. 12 and a half minutes from penalties. 0-0. Here is Ajibade down the right hand side. Danger for England. Ajibade, dead ball line, winds up for the cross. Oshoala tried the bicycle kick. It's only half cleared. Ordega into the penalty area. Shot blocked by her own player. England looking to counter with Beth England, but she runs into the tall frame of Echegini. Now here's an opportunity for Ajibade to float in another high delivery. Alozie is up at the far post. England outnumbered, and they felt and looked outnumbered there. Nigeria also almost making that extra presence count.
Yeah, the pressure's coming in, the deliveries into the box. Relentless Oshoala there again, going for the overhead kick.
Pumped into the box by Demaheen, left to right, brilliant ball, beautifully controlled by Ajibade. That clatters off the back of Carter. Nigeria absolutely belying their FIFA ranking of 40 in the world, looking to win a major knockout game in a global tournament for the first time though, and that in itself brings extra pressure. None of these Nigeria players have been there and done it at international level before. Ajibade, couple of step overs, pink boots on, evades Daly, there's the cross, a tired looking challenge from Daly. Oshoala far post, Alozie can't get to it either. Ashley Plumptre of Leicester City's there. She's beaten Chloe Kelly to the ball. Kelly maybe had to be a little more stronger with that challenge. It's back to Alozie again, and Alozie with the pass to the halfway line. 0-0 it remains. We've played 109 minutes of football, and still no way closer to a breakthrough. Pumped long by a Harley. That's a great run into the penalty area by Ordega, and Earp stayed at home, but by the time it reached Ordega, she was almost on the dead ball line, an impossible angle, could only pull it into the side netting.
Yeah, hearts in mouths there. I think Earps, she was going to come, then she backpedaled. The pace on the ball took the ball out, but ball over the top there. It was a good run, just a little bit too much on it, and Earps stayed in a goal in the end.
I think you're right, and Mary Earps' decision making is obviously one of the key factors as to why she's so good, and it looked like, as you say, she made the right call there.
I think it was just a good ball. It hit a really good area. She thought she was going to come and get it, but the run, Ordega looked like she was onto it.
10 minutes of extra time to go. Beth England breaking forward for England. Chloe Kelly to the right hand side, but England couldn't find her. Beth England still seeking her first major tournament goal for the Lionesses. Ahale for Nigeria from centre half. Drives a raking pass up the middle, not effectively controlled by Ordega. Kelly's got it in the centre circle. Kelly plays it backwards. Millie Bright touches it on to Lucy Bronze. Forward to Kira Walsh. That's just a message of the quality in the England team when you reel off the names throughout the 10 players that are still on the field here. On by Bright. England a little better in possession in the second half of extra time. Can they conjure up just one chance that maybe they need? Forward by Walsh, steered up the right hand side. England is onside. Back it goes to Kelly. Kelly touches it on towards Walsh again. A run from deep, but she can't get there before Demaheen. Demaheen has played it to the left back position, and Uchebi will hack it clear for Nigeria high and long. Good header away by Bright above Oshoala. This is better from England. Here is Carter in the centre circle.
Yeah, much better for England. When they got the ball, they're being patient. They're not forcing the passes forward. Chloe Kelly was brilliant earlier on in that phase of play. Instead of looking to play forward, she played back to her teammates.
It was nearly a great reverse ball inside right channel from Walsh towards Kelly. Well covered by Plumptre. I think you have to say Nigeria, if it does go to penalties, have more than earned their chance at spot kicks against England. Maybe even they didn't expect to produce such an outstanding performance. Ajibade, ball up the middle for Nigeria. Remember, it's been a World Cup of shocks. The world champions, the USA, are out. Germany, twice World Cup winners, are out. England 0-0 here against Nigeria. Down to 10 players, England, and at times they've been clinging on a little bit. Carter steered the ball out of play, and a throw into Nigeria deep inside England territory. A goal here would surely win it for either team.
Yeah, you feel like it might be a moment of something special, I think, from either team to stop this going from penalties. I think England have looked a little bit more confident on the ball when they've got it in this second half of extra time.
Penny for the thoughts of Serena Wiegman. as she watches on, standing on the edge of a technical area. England unbeaten in 20 competitive matches under her. Their last defeat in a competitive game was at the World Cup in 2019. Beth England breaking over the halfway line, not next to the defender, but there's safety in numbers for Nigeria. Ajibade gets back. England are deluded. Ucheibe, but Ajibade sends it back to Nnadozie.
I think you see there the desire for the Nigerian defenders to get back. 3 defenders around Beth England, the desire, the hunger to win the ball back as soon as they lose it.
The ball has hit the referee, so play will be stopped. Let's go to our England reporter, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, live in the stadium. Courtney, is there going to be one chance in this maybe before penalties for England?
I'm not sure, to be honest, Joe. The way that both teams are playing, obviously you're expecting England to be more pragmatic and stay back and make sure that they don't get undone, whereas Nigeria, they're doing the right things almost, but sort of painting by numbers. They're not doing anything that makes me think that they really want to get this one in normal time. It just feels like both teams are quite happy to go to penalties at the moment.
That does feel like the way this match is going, and maybe has been going for a little while. Certainly once Lauren James was sent off, extra time felt inevitable. There's going to be a change, at least one change for Nigeria here. They're going to bring on their number 9, Desiree Oparanozie, and she's going to play at this World Cup for the first time, on in place of the number 7, Tony Payne. So Oparanozie brings yet more physicality and hold-up play to this Nigeria side. 6 minutes of extra time to go. The 10 players of England 0, Nigeria 0.
Yeah, Desiree forward. Again, probably looking ahead for the penalties now, both managers.
Well, England have got a lot of technically gifted players. Daly's gone down and Ajibade's gone down. I'm not sure who the cry was from. 50-50 challenge, clash of heads in front of the England dugout. Daly seems to have come off worse here. A couple of England physios on straight away, although Ajibade is also looking a bit dazed. This is a worry for Serena Wiegman. There was an elbow actually leaning, not with intent from Ajibade, but as she jumped to elbow, just catching Daly.
It's gone into the side of Daly's head. It's like a painful one. Ajibade looks like she might have come out of it worse.
Well, we had penalty drama, extraordinary penalty drama yesterday at the Women's World Cup involving the United States and Sweden, with the champions of the last 2 World Cups heading out. I have to admit, Jenna, got my grid ready just in case, because it does feel like that's the way this match is destined to finish. 5 minutes until the dreaded spot kicks, and Randy Waldrum for the first time in the game with a little wince, just a little intake of breath, a look of concern. Ajibade is okay to carry on, and I think Rachel Daly is too.
Yeah, I think if we're going to look ahead and assume penalties, both keepers have been phenomenal for their teams in this tournament.
Yeah.
Which keeper could it be? One of the keepers coming out the hero today?
Mary Earps enjoys the psychology of penalties, and Chimaka Nnadozie saved a spot kick earlier in the tournament, the Nigeria goalkeeper. It's not over yet anyway in extra time. Both players restored to their full complement, the 10 of England, the 11 of Nigeria. 4 minutes to go. Here is Ucheibe, midway inside the England half, spins away from Beth England, plays the ball crossfield towards the left, is intercepted and cleared away by Lucy Bronze. Retrieved intelligently by Nigeria. Alozie with a chance to swing it across. Ashley Plumtree on the overlap. She's giving it straight back to Lucy Bronze. Loose ball deflects off the England player. Bronze then gets back, and right by the corner flag has just got to steer that out of play. Didn't really have any other option but to knock it into touch. It's a Nigeria throw. Can they nick this one late on and go into the quarterfinals of a World Cup? Long throw, flicked on at the near post. It drops for Oshoala on the turn, and it's gathered by Earps. Straight at the goalkeeper in the end, but the spin and turn of Oshoala was enough to worry England.
Oh yeah, beautiful control, and then just spins to get the shot off with her left foot. Easy save for Mary Earps, straight at her.
Desiree Oparanozie, who's just come on, is the biggest player on the field, the tallest player on the field, and it was her physicality that helped Nigeria there. Mary Earps is going to blast the ball long for England. 0-0 it remains, header away by Harley. It'll drop down towards Stanway on the halfway line. And Stanway and Alozi collide. Referee stops the game again as penalties draws ever closer. It's a 50-50. No intent from Alozi, I don't think. Stanway helped to her feet by the referee, Melissa Borjas. Stanway had eyes on the ball. Actually ended up going over the back of her opponent, landing awkwardly.
Get a piggyback on her opponent.
Stanway back up onto her feet. I'm sure she will be very near the top of the penalty-taking list for England. Had to take a penalty twice against Haiti. First effort was saved, albeit the goalkeeper had moved illegally, so ultimately it was a spot kick converted by Georgia Stanway. Now Millie Bright's going to come forward for this free kick. It's just inside the Nigeria half. One last threat for England at the end of extra time. 0-0 the score. Pumped long by Alex Greenwood, deep into the penalty area. England is there, and Millie Bright couldn't reach it on the stretch. And it's gone behind for a goal kick. That was maybe the chance for England. Are we heading to penalties now?
Oh, I think that would have been the moment. There was a beautiful ball in. England with the first touch, flicks it on, and Bright's free at the back post. She just can't stretch enough to get the final contact on.
Agonising for the skipper, that.
So close. I think if that was the moment, it was going to be there. So close.
Well, there are just over a minute and 10 seconds of extra time to go. Katie Zellem, the Manchester United star, the player who started the game against China, is going to come on, and Kira Walsh is coming off. A couple of physios either side of her. Maybe it's just fatigue. Of course, it was a big surprise that England were able to get her back so early and have her play nearly 120 minutes. And as I say, Katie Zellem, the skipper of Manchester United, is onto the field in Walsh's place.
She looks a bit in pain coming off the pitch there, Walsh.
That's a concern. Walsh moving off gingerly. She will be assessed. Forward by Zellem towards England. England have to forget about injuries now. They have to forget about the sending off of Lauren James. Penalties are mere seconds away. Lucy Bronze will have a throw on the halfway line. It's a different kind of pressure that's going to be on the Nigeria players now, having come so far in the game. Throw by Bronze up the middle, controlled by England. Back it goes to Bronze again. She just flicks it long, not a great ball, but England's chested it back to Zellem. Zellem slow on the ball, dispossessed by Ortega. We've had the 30 minutes of extra time, 3 added minutes now. Ajibade's got the pace to beat a tiring Daly. Surging down the Nigeria right. Ajibade spins, turns, left-footed, reverse ball into the area. Up go the heads. England can't clear. Brilliant header away by Millie Bright. Then Beth England. High boot from Ortega. Free kick to England. And they defended that ball in brilliantly there.
Yeah, they had to. It was a good ball in. All England defenders, all eyes on the balls, and they clear the danger, and then Beth England really brave there, just to take a one for the team there.
Millie Bright was there heroically, and then Beth England, as you say, dropping back. Nearly a minute through, the 3 added at the end of extra time. Will Nigeria live to regret the missed opportunities that they've had? They might feel they should have won this game already. They might feel they should already be in the quarter-finals. It's been far from a vintage display from an England perspective. The ball is cleared upfield by Mary Earps. It's dropped on the halfway line. And it's bouncing around on the near side, the left. A little flick by Rachel Daly. Daly stabbed it forward down the far side touchline. And cleared away by Nigeria. 90 seconds to go. It is worth noting, and we've just had this through to us, a red card for violent conduct in the case of Lauren James doesn't necessarily mean an automatic 3-match ban. Suspensions initially are for 1 game, with a possible extension of that reviewed by FIFA. We did see Deborah Abiodun of Nigeria given a 3-game ban earlier in the tournament. Little flick by Nigeria down the middle. That's just something to think about potentially, but of course it only really matters if England get through to the quarter-finals. 0-0 at the very end of extra time. A minute to go. Katie Zellem has played into the feet of Stanway, who kind of took it away from Lucy Bronze, who's making a good overlapping run.
I think she was aiming for Bronze there. Stanway just got in the way.
The ball is out to play now for an England throw on the halfway line. Serena Wiegman standing on the edge of the technical area. She's going to have to give one of the most important team talks that she's had as England boss ahead of penalty kicks. Throw for Carter. 30 seconds left. That's long into the Nigeria half. Only half cleared initially by Ahale. Ball back calmly by Uchebe to the feet of Plumtree. 25 seconds left of extra time. It's this or penalties. Nigeria have it with Alozie. The tackle by Bronze. Beth England controls. Shy of halfway. Out to Chloe Kelly. Only Kelly in the Nigeria half. 10 to go. 10 seconds to go, that is. Kelly's poked it square to Bronze. Bronze has slowed it down. The referee looks at her watch. That is the end of extra time, and we will have penalty kicks to decide who reaches the quarterfinals of the Women's World Cup. Over to you, Serena Wiegman. Over to you, Mary Earps, the England goalkeeper, and the rest of the Lionesses who are about to step up and take the penalty kicks. England still have hope, despite being in adversity. Can they draw on the strength that they had, the strength that they showed through the Euros, and will that be enough, along with their quality, to edge them past Nigeria and into the last 8? It finishes after extra time. The 10 players of England 0, Nigeria 0. Penalties to come very shortly in Brisbane.
You would think, Jenna Scalacci, that England will fancy themselves, having got to this point, against the odds actually, because Nigeria have been the better team in this 90 minutes, then extra time, that they're going to fancy themselves on penalties, particularly what we saw from them in the Finalissima when they beat Brazil.
Yeah, 100%. I think, when you have games like you've had today, they've had to ride their luck at times. They weren't at their best, but they've come through. They've come through 30 minutes with 10 men, and I think now they'll be fancying their chances. I think the camera just panned on Mary Earps. She looks up for it. She looks confident. I think England will have to back themselves here. Well, she saved Brazil's second penalty in the Finalissima and was so pumped for it as well. I've just watched those penalties back. Stanway was up first. Toon had hers saved. Then Daly, then Greenwood, and then Kelly with the ultimate winning penalty. It finished 4-2 on pens, and we've just seen Katie Zellem, the Manchester United captain, who takes penalties for her club, come on for Keira Walsh. So maybe she's one of the first 5, or they're thinking about it potentially going to sudden death like we saw in the USA-Sweden game. Yeah, and I think, looking at the players on the pitch, I've no doubt the majority of them would step up and take the pens for their clubs. So they would have rehearsed these moments, but I think all the rehearsals in the world cannot prepare you enough for a big moment like this. But these are the moments now that these players have trained for their whole lives, and it's a horrible way to see a team go out, but you've got to look at that England team now. We've definitely got the talent and the penalty takers to get it over the line. Captain Millie Bright giving her team a huge pep talk before this. It's going to be vital. Both goalkeepers have been key in this game. Mary Earps for England and Nnadozie as well for Nigeria, and she's the captain as well, so we'll see the coin toss very soon to see which end they're going to take the penalties, and crucially who takes them first as well. The England team look frustrated with their arms around each other, focused on what the assistant manager Ian Vuurink is saying to them. They'll have been through all these preparations before, but this is not the stage they will have wanted to do it on, that's for sure. Last 16 in a Women's World Cup, where we've seen so many of the big hitters in this tournament exit earlier than planned. England do not want that fate to happen to them. Listen, strap yourselves in, whatever you're doing. Are you hiding behind the sofa? Pulled over at the side of the road? Get yourselves ready. Jenna Scalacci and Joe Shannon will bring you all the drama of penalties from Brisbane.
Millie Bright and the Nigeria goalkeeper Nnadozie are standing on the halfway line as the coin toss takes place. There is a mixed presence of both sets of fans at either end of the stadium, so there's not necessarily an advantage to be gained by going to a particular end, but I think there are a slightly higher number of England fans at the end away to our left, and that is the end that Millie Bright would like the penalties to be taken from. With England having won the toss, now it's a question of who goes first. The second toss of the coin for the referee, and England will go first and will have the penalties at the end away to our left. There are quite a few England flags and banners behind that goal. A reminder of England's recent penalty record. Faye mentioned the success over Brazil in the Finalissima, 4-2 on penalties in April. England's only World Cup shootout ended in defeat to France in 2011. Their only Euros shootout ended in defeat to Sweden in 1984. This is Nigeria's first ever World Cup penalty shootout, and their last major shootout ended in defeat at the AFCON semi-finals in 2022. As we welcome listeners from Talksport, it finished England 0, Nigeria 0 at the end of extra time in the round of 16 at the Women's World Cup, and now penalties late into the evening in Brisbane to see who of England or Nigeria will reach the quarter-finals here at the 2023 tournament. The floodlights are on, the sky is dark overhead. England have a goalkeeper in Mary Earps who enjoys the psychology of penalty kicks. Nigeria have a goalkeeper in Chiamaka Nnadozie who has saved a penalty already this tournament. England without Lauren James for the penalties. She was sent off late in normal time for a stamp on one of the Nigeria players. It was an instant reminiscent of the David Beckham stamp, that infamous stamp at France 98 all those years ago. So England have been down to 10 for the whole of extra time and the very end of normal time, and now we've gone all the way to penalty kicks. The net has yet to bulge in Brisbane so far. The referee has a quick word with the two goalkeepers. Former Tottenham captain Jenna Schillaci is with me. Jenna, do you back the Lionesses in the lottery of penalties?
Yeah, you've got to back them. I think they've got that experience, that big game experience. Mary Earps in goal, the true professional, best goalkeeper in the world.
England won the toss on both occasions. There are England fans at both ends of the ground, but more away to the left among the 52,000 here in Brisbane. That's the end where the penalties will be taken, and England elected to go first, it looked like initially, and breaking away from the crowd, the huddle of England players on the halfway line, as you'd expect, is Georgia Stanway, who scored her first World Cup goal from the penalty spot against Haiti in the first game of the group stages. An England player who became a legend at the Euros last summer with her biggest moment of her life at a World Cup. She places the ball down on the spot. England in the white shirts, the blue shorts and the white socks. The Nigeria goalkeeper Nnadozie, who's proven her worth at saving penalties in the tournament so far. It'll be a straight run up for Stanway. Lots of crosses of St George behind the goal to the left. England fans on their feet around the stadium. Nnadozie rooted to her goal line. We had penalty drama yesterday when the world champions, the US, were eliminated by Sweden. It's England against Nigeria here. Spot kicks for a place in the quarter-finals of the World Cup. Stanway stares down towards the ball, 12 yards out. It'll be a relatively straight, long run-up. Big intake of breath. Stanway right-footed, saved! England missed the first penalty. Nnadozie in delight for Nigeria. The worst possible start for the Lionesses in the shootout.
What a save. The power was there. She got across. Oh, it's completely missed.
It's gone wide. Either way, it's a missed penalty, and Georgia Stanway can't believe it.
Completely missed. She's aiming for the bottom left-hand side like she did against Haiti. Completely off target, the worst start.
And the substitute, Desiree, the number 9, will take Nigeria's first penalty. There are Nigeria players who can't bear to watch. Heads bowed, faces to the ground. Can Mary Earps be England's hero? The goalkeeper all in bright pink. Away to the left-hand side as we look at it. On a night where things have not gone well for England in Brisbane. They were big favourites coming into this game. But Desiree can put Nigeria ahead in the shootout. Right-footed, Earps has got to it! The penalty is missed! And we're still on level terms after a spot kick each. Desiree curled it right-footed towards the far corner. Earps guessed the right way. Did she get a glove on the ball, the England goalkeeper? And it's just curved wide. It did look like Earps had got a touch. Again, either way, it's the missed spot kick, this time from Desiree. And the net still yet to bulge after a penalty apiece.
The exact same execution as Stanway there. It's gone the exact same place.
And here comes the aptly named Beth England. for the Lionesses. She has only had 3 major tournament appearances, including today. This the chance to score at a major tournament for the first time for her country. She looks relaxed, hands on hips. It's a relatively short run-up from just inside the penalty area, right-footed, and she finds the corner. England's finest moment for the Lionesses, and they lead in the penalty shootout.
Oh, what a pen from England. Not had many minutes, composed as you like, into the corner, no keeper saving that penalty.
So 1-0 to England, and Beth England just rattled that into the roof of the net. And the England players not just huddled on the halfway line, but on the near side touchline, all grouped together, arms around each other. The staff as well in the dugout, Serena Wiegman and her assistants as well, all cheered, all erupted in celebration. So we have seen the ball hit the back of the net tonight. We had 120 long and agonising minutes. England played extra time, down to 10 after Lauren James was sent off. Now Alozie involved in the incident with a penalty for Nigeria! Over the bar! Left-footed and smashed over the top! Earps barely had to move. The pressure gets to Alozie. And after 2 penalties each, England have the advantage, leading 1-0.
Oh, Earps is enjoying this. You can see it, the body language. She's winning the mind games there. Skied high. Bad penalty.
You are spot on. She loves the psychology of penalties. Does the England and Manchester United goalkeeper Mary Earps. And it was Alozie who was stamped on by Lauren James that led to the sending off, who missed the penalty. Now it's England's Rachel Daly. Ever versatile, ever dependent. Can she prove it from the spot here in the round of 16 at the World Cup? Daly with another big deep breath. Adozie one arm up into the air, the goalkeeper. Crouched on her line, all in yellow. Daly right-footed, smashes it home. Smashes it into the top corner. Goalkeeper gets right, was never going to get to it. 2-0 to England in the shootout.
Fantastic pen, she's gone for the power. Into the top corner. That's a little smile there from Daly. Yeah, perfectly executed into the top corner.
Well, you can really hear the England fans now around the stadium. They've been nervy throughout, but you can sense the atmosphere is building now. The England fans with a greater weight of expectation, and really this is a massively important kick for Rashida Ajibade of Atletico Madrid and Nigeria. If she misses, then England are at match point. Ajibade with the dyed blue hair. The American coach of Nigeria, Waldron, watches on. You're listening to Talksport. England at the Women's World Cup. Penalty kicks to decide who reaches the quarter-finals. Ajibade with a slow, stuttered run-up, puts it down the middle. Earps committed away to her left. The penalty floated down the centre.
Yeah, she waited for Earps to make the move to the left. Then calmly, easy pen, just straight down the middle. She fooled Earps there, feinted the shot.
So Nigeria score their first penalty. 3 kicks apiece, and England lead 2-1 in the shootout. So England still have the advantage. Nigeria have missed the 2 kicks, England just the 1. Alex Greenwood is going to take the next penalty. Wand of a left foot. The player who's played in 3 different positions across the tournament already and was so reliable off the bench at the Euros. One of England's most underrated players. Orange boots on. Facing the end away to our left, left-footed, and she just curls that calmly away to the right and into the corner. The goalkeeper went the wrong way, and now England really are at match point. Nigeria must score next.
So calm from Greenwood there, big pressure. The wand of the left foot strikes again into the side netting.
Well, how's this for pressure for Nigeria, who are looking to win a major tournament game at a World Cup for the very first time? And now it's the number 10, Christy Ucheibe, who must score. If she doesn't, England are in the quarter-finals. Mary Earps on her goal line looks very calm and composed. Ucheibe much less so. Nigeria are 3-1 down in the shootout. The weight of the world on the shoulders of Ucheibe here. The biggest moment in her sporting life. Can she keep Nigeria in the shootout? Yes, she can. Earp stayed rooted to the spot and Uchebe a huge sigh of relief. The ball nestled into the corner, but England have got match point now, and it's on their feet.
Yeah, huge. Good pen, calm, really cool. Wasn't even a run-up, takes a step into the top corner, calm as you like with the right foot.
3-2 to England after 4 penalties each. So this could be the moment for the Lionesses. It's Chloe Kelly, scorer of so many important England goals, the winner in the Euros final last summer, just over a year ago, the decisive penalty in the shootout win in the Finalissima against Brazil in April. She's the player for the big occasion, so often for England. Is it going to be the case again? It's Chloe Kelly from the spot to send England into the quarter-finals! She does! Emphatically smashes it into the top corner. It's job done for the Lionesses and Sarina Wiegman. It wasn't easy, it wasn't straightforward, but they go roaring into the last 8 of the Women's World Cup. It'll be England against either Colombia or Jamaica in Sydney on Saturday. It'll be live on the Talksport network. England really had to battle, but when it came to the crunch, they did what they needed. And how fitting, how appropriate that Chloe Kelly, so often a major tournament hero for England, is the hero again from the spot at the World Cup in Australia. She smashed it past the goalkeeper, and England, in adversity against a devastated Nigeria side, have somehow managed to come through. They were down to 10 players, England, from the 87th minute. They got through extra time, and they got the job done on penalty kicks. It finishes in Brisbane, England 0, Nigeria 0 after extra time. England win it 4-2 on penalties.
Wow, England into the quarter-finals, you have to say, by the absolute skin of their teeth. I mean, she loves a crucial goal, doesn't she? Chloe Kelly, that's for sure. A mark of these England players. The Nigerian goalkeeper, Ndozi, absolutely devastated on her haunches at the end of that penalty shootout, and 3 or 4 England players went straight over to comfort her. Celebration slightly muted. They know that they got away with one there as Millie Bright lifts the England manager Sarina Wiegman off her feet. They are going to be so relieved to make it through to the last 8, Jenna Scalacci. I'm not entirely sure we can say they deserved it, but they certainly showed their world-class quality getting through to that point and then winning on penalties ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the match and the 90 minutes and extra time, 90 minutes for sure they didn't deserve to be on the winning team. I thought Nigeria were the better team, but they survived and they had to dug deep. 10 players in the last 16 match, huge pressure, but they got together and they got through it. They dug deep, they were resilient in defence. And then the pens, to start off your penalty taker Stanway, it's a given, she scores, she misses. So then to keep your head, to keep your composure, to go on and execute some excellent penalties. You kind of got the feeling it was going to go their way after they survived the 90 minutes and the extra time, and a lot of learnings from this match to move on from. But yeah, they've survived, and it's a tournament. It's about surviving these matches, these horrible situations. Wasn't an enjoyable watch, lots of learnings that they've got through.
Yeah, you've got a feel for the Nigerians though. I'm seeing them walking off the pitch in tears. They did get to the quarterfinals back in 1999, and on the performances that they've showed out in Australia, they really did deserve to get through to the quarterfinals, and it's a brutal way for anybody to go out.
Yeah, it's absolutely savage, especially the performance they put in. I think they'll be really disappointed that with 11 players they didn't wrap it up in extra time or the 90 minutes available, and it goes down to those fine margins, them chances that they did have in the first half. They didn't take, they weren't clinical enough, and ultimately it's gone down to a penalty shootout, which is a horrible way to see any team lose, especially after, Ndozi, you got a feel for her. She's been fantastic, one of the keepers of the tournament so far. She doesn't deserve to be out of the tournament, but it's fine lines, and England have come out on top.
Yeah, they certainly have. Celebrating on the pitch as we speak. The Nigerians absolutely devastated as they head back down the tunnel. We'll be getting all the post-match reaction from our England reporter Courtney Sweeman-Kirk, who is waiting for Sarina Wiegman and the players as Mary Earps goes down to the England fans where those penalties at the far end of the stadium where the penalties were taken and stokes up the crowd. And those are the kind of fine margins, actually, Jenna, that make you win in circumstances like this, because they won the toss. They got to choose the end. They chose to go down where the England fans are, in a little pocket down the far end, and then they got to take the first penalty. And psychologically, that's huge.
Yeah, it's a huge part, especially in high pressure moments like we've just seen. Having that little advantage, it is on your side. Taking the pens first, that's, you're one up almost. And they luckily it fell for them to have both their home fans behind them and the first kick. And just seeing scenes of Mary Earps now absolutely loving life, just striding around confident. She lives for those moments. She's trained for these moments, her whole life to be the hero. But ultimately, it was Chloe Kelly again.
She loves it, doesn't she?
Loves
any kind of stage. I have to say, I was trying. Ashley Plumtree is sat on the floor, the Leicester City player, with all the England players going over to her, because of course she started off as an England player herself and only switched allegiance last year to go and play for Nigeria because of her granddad. I wonder where Lauren James was watching those penalties. I couldn't see her out on the pitch with the rest of the players just then celebrating. She'll have been watching it, biting her nails, no doubt, if it was in the dressing room or wherever she was, knowing that if they exited the tournament, she was partly to blame for that.
Absolutely. I imagine she was probably in the dressing room watching the pens, or maybe she couldn't even watch. But yeah, I think a massive sigh of relief. She'll probably be the most relieved person around. That her teammates have got together and got the job done for her. Listen, they'll get around her. I know we say it was reckless, it was stupid, but she is human and she's made the biggest mistake of her life, and if she's going to learn, she will learn after today.
Well, yeah, she absolutely will do. Shown a real naivety there, but as you say, they are a very solid team and they will protect her as much as they possibly can, which is really vital going forward. But it's going to have to be a really harsh learning lesson for her, unfortunately, and we still don't know how that's going to affect England going forward, because as Joe mentioned earlier on, we don't know yet whether or not she will get a 3-game ban by FIFA. They will review it, or whether it will just be a 1 game, but it was violent conduct, so they are going to have to review it, and probably review it harshly. And of course, if it's a 3-game ban, that's it, she's out.
Yeah, I mean, if you take Lauren James, the person, out of it and you're watching it back, it is violent conduct. There's no room for it in the game. But you hope, for the sake of the World Cup and this stage, that we get to see her at least get to see her play again in the World Cup.
Yeah, I really hope so. Chloe Kelly's giving her post-match reaction. We'll be bringing you all the latest in the Women's World Cup show. Myself and Jenna Scalacci at 6 o'clock tonight on Talksport 2 will be reacting to this match, and also Australia-Denmark, which kicks off in 2 minutes' time. Actually, updates over on Talksport if you want to listen to that one, as the co-hosts try and keep their place in this last 16. England so close to a huge upset going out of the tournament, as USA did, as Germany have, as Canada have, as Brazil have, but the Lionesses roar on to the quarter-finals. They did it the hard way, Jenna. They were on the ropes for the majority of it, down to 10 players in extra time, but England are into the quarter-finals.